All right. We finally got live. We apologize. Hopefully, we'll get everybody else in here. I sent them a message in Messenger. Leanne, you were the first one to actually go click and jump on it and can't come in. Everybody else is still out there, but we are live. Skull Island, we had technical difficulties. Apparently, we were having problems with StreamYard. StreamYard was blowing the fuck up, pardon my language, and nobody could go live. So I had to update. So they finally got an update where they expanded their horizons, and I downloaded the update and was able to go live. But prior to that, we were screwed. So we're trying to get everybody in here now. And here everybody's finally starting to come in. So we'll get Aaron in here.
I can't stand that
We're
fucking,
live, baby. I had to do that update. So they finally figured it out and said, quick, give them a program that expands their minds, man. So we're here 27 minutes late, but we're in the house. Welcome to
We're not late, dude. Everybody else is early.
Everybody else is early.
All right.
Hold on a second. Share this out. We apologize for being 27 minutes late. StreamYard was fucked up, and their website blew the fuck up, and they had to expand their website and give an upgrade for us to get in here. It was not our technical difficulty. It was the server. We pay you. Fix your shit. Share this out. Right. Welcome, everybody. And we apologize for those of you who were waiting for us. Right? Well, they'll find us. We have to share this out. Let me go over here and share it myself. Right? Start sharing this out and start getting some people in here. Gosh darn it. Right? Now I have to expand my mind.
Look at that. And all of a sudden we went live. Did you just push live or what, dude?
Yeah, bro. I did the update.
How punctual we all are.
Right? I did the update.
I really
as soon as the update finished, then I turned the cameras on, went into the studio, hit live, and it went live. And I was like, sweet.
Well, I don't know what happened. I switched back into here, and the next thing I know, you guys are like, where's that coming from? And I'm looking at something that says live, and I'm in the what do you call it, in the green room or whatever, and I'm thinking these guys better get back in here because I can't let myself in to say anything to anybody. Hurry up!
I was in there. I was trying to get the music started. And I saw you in the green room. I was in there. You just didn't know it. You couldn't see me. I was in there.
Wait, isn't it a perfect topic for tonight though?
A little bit of a slow rhythm.
Yeah.
Wacky rhythm.
The only way it would go live is if Aaron pushed go live or I did. Otherwise, it wouldn't go live by itself. Well, it might if we scheduled it.
Yeah, actually, you scheduled it, and you had rescheduled it. And since the servers weren't maxed out for that one, which was scheduled because they were actually just able to schedule it in, then it probably went live automatically.
They found their resources.
No. Yeah, when I came in, it was not live. I pressed go live.
So live. I got an advice that it was
live.
That it was.
That's because I sent it to everybody. I sent a notice to everybody saying we were live.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Leo. You rock.
Right. Happy Wednesday. Kathy, it's a good day to have a Wednesday on. Welcome. Right. It's a great day to have a Wednesday on. We're a little bit late, but it was StreamYard's fault. They had to give us an upgrade, an update, because their server was blown up and they couldn't get us on. They were like, whoa! And I was like, what is your problem? So they were scrambling. And they were like, here's an update. As soon as we did the update, everything worked.
Yep.
But they hadn't sent that update out to anybody until the server crashed. And then they sent us the update. Thank you to StreamYard. You guys need to be more forward-looking and thinking. I'm just a suggestion here. If everybody on the planet's turning to StreamYard, you need to prepare for that. You see, people in life sit around and think shit up like this, and they think, what's going to happen when the population explodes to 20 million? We need to prepare for that now so that when it happens, we're on board. See, they don't do that with the roads in America, so they're always 20 years behind the times, and they're all because politicians don't want to spend money on the slaves. They just want to spend money on their caviar and their fucking plane rides everywhere they go, and their beer and their drinks, and they're going to the Bahamas and buying their houses.
$20,000 ice cream.
Yeah, their $3,000 ice cream.
Yeah, like they've got so much money that they're just gonna. Yeah, the people. Yeah. I mean, I've never met anybody like that.
He's talking about Nancy Pelosi, where she was showing her, look, and here's all the ice cream that we bought and put it in my brand new freezer. And people are starving, and she's bitching, right, going, what is that, a banquet that everybody's going to get $1,100? Because to her, $1,100 is a fucking penny. To the rest of us Americans, $1,100 is a fucking paycheck, bitch.
Yeah,
she was doing the calculation.
Trading, but we all knew that was happening, didn't we?
Right.
See, the thing is, she was doing the calculations, and that was just taking too much out of her cut. And so that's what she had a problem with, because she was showing that she needed that ice cream in that new fridge, because it just brings her so much joy. And don't you want to bring her joy?
Right.
Honestly,
Right.
I just think she doesn't like cake, and she fancies herself very Marie Antoinette. But hey, that's just me.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I
Yeah,
don't
but
like
hey,
cake. I will eat ice cream.
I cannot eat cake, but I will
Fuck
eat
you,
ice cream.
peasants.
This is
Right?
habit.
Agreed. Yeah, it's habit. I just can't
Yeah,
help
well,
myself.
she's built. I mean,
Sorry, is that
inside-
cake on my
inside her
desk?
city.
You're fired. Where's the
You're
ice cream?
fired. I
Right?
have met people like that.
Oh yeah.
No,
It's like, did I tell you to order me cake, or did I tell you to order me ice cream? Then why
Right.
the fuck is the cake on the?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Why is there ice cream on a cake? Yeah, I didn't ask for
then
cake.
wouldn't
Might
that
Yeah.
lose
be
it
pile of
completely.
mode?
Oh shit!
That's
Like
why
this-
that character Mocula for the eye company works, because he's that guy. He's the personification of that person. Do you know what I'm talking about? The guy who's always trying to get over on the eye company for the glasses. His name is
No, I
Mocula.
didn't.
It is me, Mocula. It is I. And he wears platform
Oh, well,
shoes, and he's already 6
macular
foot tall.
deterioration, I guess, right? So macula,
Well,
macular deterioration. That's why.
Yeah,
he
that's
named
the
himself this?
whole right. I mean, that's what he's the whole personification of that. I love him. I think he's
I
fun.
think he's the personification of deterioration, because it didn't
Yeah.
work.
No, exactly, because that's what we. I mean, when people become entitled and break down, and they become that 90210 in their brain,
And
they
they have
become
princess
Mocula.
attacks. I heard that
Yeah.
yesterday. I thought I spit my liquid when I heard that. On these guys having princess attacks, I was like, wait, what? Can you imagine?
Princess,
Can
what
you
the
just
fuck
have like
is
a visual for a second of Bill Gates dressed like a princess having a hissy fit?
Right?
Just the visual.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What would he look like in a little cone hat with a little tool and just Bill Gates just having
No,
a
actually,
hissy fit?
that visualization, they've already had it, because he ran those tantrums all the fucking time.
Yeah, when he was being
Princess Mantra.
Well, you know what? though he actually did. If you watch like the movie back in the day when he stole Windows from Apple, he had that meltdown. He had that meltdown when they stole the Macintosh before it got on, before it was released. He's like, I fucking want this, and I want this fucking before this fucking goes out to the fucking world. He was Adolf Hitler having a fucking hissy fit. Not a joke. He really did that.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're all motherfucking fired.
Maybe instead of like having Jersey Shore, they should have a new show, a new reality show called Billionaire Eugenicists, and make them all live together in a house and see which
well,
one
guess what?
kills.
It's
Right,
kind
who
of like
massacres
what was
the
that?
rest of them?
We're in
Oh,
that
wait a
movie
minute.
right
They already
now.
did
Actually,
that at the White House. Never mind.
Right, I was
we're in
going to
that
say, we
movie
already
right
have
now.
B613 in the White House. Right, welcome everybody who's out there. Right, I know we're a little off crazy right now. We have a topic for today, and the topic is the
rhythm, and we're trying to find that rhythm.
Right,
the principle of rhythm, right?
Yeah,
Let's start it off.
We're a little off because we got off our game because the StreamYard was
off
off
our
the hook,
rhythm. Come on,
and our rhythm got out of control, and now we're all just trying to get back in rhythm. So, being the producer, I'm trying to throw us back in rhythm here. So, let's talk. Aaron says, "Leo, produce, dude." Produce this shit, bro. Right. So let's get back on track here, guys, and let's start talking about the cyclical nature, the rhythm of the ebb and flow of the universe, and we can do it on a microcosm, the macrocosm, or anywhere in between, wherever you guys want to play.
It's all the same.
Because it's all the same.
In reality.
Yeah.
However, there was a WikiLeaks definition that you brought up.
Yeah, I just brought up circadian rhythm.
Exactly. You can start there. What's the circadian?
I like that you pulled that up, bro. I saw you guys toying with that earlier. Sorry, Mike.
Exactly.
I saw them toying with it earlier, but we were off air and I didn't read it. So just now I realized that, because remember I said it's one of the 12 laws, and he just pulled up Hermetic Principle number 5, rhythm. So yeah, bro, take it away.
Yep.
Rock that out.
I mean, I didn't know they had numbers, but I haven't read the full Kabbalion yet. So anyway,
yeah. There's 12 of the major laws. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So, but for right now, that we'll just keep it there. There we go.
Right.
I can't hear you guys.
So think about what he just said right there. You have to understand that that the way the law works is rhythm is rhythmic, which means that like he just said, if something the pendulum swings to the left, it has to swing to the right. It can't go one way without the other because the rhythm is a cyclical nature, which means the beginning and the end is the beginning and the end. There is no beginning, there is no end, so it's infinite.
Yep.
And that's the nature of the universe. So what we
That's
think
what you guys
when the pendulum-
are interpreting as rhythm. Because whenever I think of rhythm, I think of more, the battery in the band and music and harmony, and so it's got a certain beat to it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, even that, which you need to understand, that's a different vibratory level of the same rhythmic pattern.
All right.
And what happens is, I
It's a
actually
good
talked about this.
explanation of it. Yeah, it's a really good comparison.
You could use music, you could use just sound, you could use light, you could use wind, you could use water, you could use gas, you could use anything that is in nature because they are all the same thing. They are just different layers of reality. I did an entire hour on this a year ago on the solstice. Aaron probably remembers I did an entire hour showing you how they actually fit in nature and how they overlap each other, where we think that light is a wave, but yet when you know this, and anyone who knows physics knows, if you're trying to look at light as it's moving from one place to another, you change its trajectory by actually physically looking at it, because you add energy to it, it changes the direction. So everything ebbs and flows in this natural rhythm balance of the universe, and they fit like layers. Like if you see my fingers, they don't touch each other. There's this minute, finite, little teeny area that is separating, all of which is what makes up our reality, and all of that has its own beautiful dance and rhythm. There is no beginning and no end. We just perceive it at different places, and so we think that there's a beginning to a song and an end to a song because we write it, and we write it to stop, right? But that doesn't mean that the harmonics of that song actually does stop. It means the players quit playing
to a song, right? Yeah.
Right?
Yep. That's it. The rhythm is already there. That's
Right.
how a lot of us write music.
Right.
Something in me, and it could be inspired from something else, but I'll just get that rhythm inside me and I can hear something. It may start out with just like a click track, or a tick, tick, tick. And a lot of the times it starts out with guitar. I'm playing at that time if I'm into it.
Right.
I'll hear it with the guitar first, or maybe vocals. But yeah, that rhythm is already there. It's part of the universe. It's like a perturbation, as they would call it. Scientists would call it. It's a field perturbation, which we are the field, right? We're a part of the field, which means we are the field. A field perturbation is like a wave, or something that happens. It's perturbed.
It's a part of
agitated, or just something that's happening because of the rhythm and the vibration. Mm-hmm. The vibration's coming from the rhythm, also coming from the vibration.
Right, and then you guys are freezing a little bit.
Or like
well, and what happens is, like, the best bands are able to tap in to the natural rhythm of the universe, and when they do that and they sync up really well, like say Tool, for instance, or Led
in the
Zeppelin,
pocket. That's what we call it. When we're in the pocket.
Right. They're in the pocket. And when they know they hit that,
right,
they know they're there. And then that song blows up and becomes a blockbuster. And people go, wow, these guys are great. And they're like, yeah, because we hit it. We got the rhythm. We got in the pocket.
Yep.
And you guys know it by listening to it. You go, oh my
God.
God.
It's vibration going when you're in the pocket, like when you're in a live band situation and you're just playing and you're in the pocket, there's no more thinking. Right. Like the thinking goes away.
You're not
like
thinking, right.
It's almost like being in meditation. You're like the awareness that's just in a
like
pocket.
You're a vessel.
In football, we call it in the zone.
Of the higher power.
Right.
Just do it.
That's
it's
the only
that
thing
zen.
you're thinking about.
It's that zen moment. And all of you guys, right? Did he say Tool? Yes, Gonzo. I said Tool. Did he say Tool? Yes, I did.
Oh, that guy knows.
Greatest bands ever.
Think when he plays such complex rhythms You know,
Right?
he doesn't think.
I
He's
mean,
just
and look
playing.
at Danny Carey. I mean, one of the he's going to go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest drummer ever. If you watch and actually pay attention to what he does, right? Yeah. CM Gonzo. I love Tool. Tool's the greatest band on the planet. Right? Those guys rock. I mean, there's bands like Metallica. There's Judas Priest, another one. Watch the video and listen to the song Painkiller. That just sums up like everything that is personification of Rob Halford and that band, right? And I mean, that's just one song. Every band has that. You know, Led Zeppelin, look at those. Look at the Beatles. Look at these guys in history. Look at B.B. King on the guitar, for crying out loud.
Oh, dude,
right?
My favorite from Judas Priest has got to be their older stuff. Like,
oh no, I love their older stuff too. From Screaming for Vengeance, right? From Defenders of the Faith, right? Or even back further than that, British Steel.
You guys are old school. I'm like sitting
I am old
here
school.
going, wow, I know all these bands, but I was listening to like Billy Joel. Like the closest I got.
I'm a Billy Joel fan. Billy Joel is the shit. Billy Joel, I love Billy Joel. I always love Billy Joel, right? I'm just talking like metal bands. There's so much more, right?
I had to hear a lot of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that was an awkward
Ariel
silence.
says, this just went over my head.
We're in the zen.
Well,
we're in the pocket.
You need to understand, guys, that everything has a what we call a cyclical nature. Cyclical means that, like, if you were using it in military terms, it would be a repetitive motion of a gun that fires like 100,000 rounds a second, not literally, but it could fire up to like 200 rounds a second, and so and that's per second. That becomes cyclical, meaning that it continues. It continues until you stop it. Nature itself is cyclical. It doesn't stop. It perpetuates
our solar system.
Motion.
Think about it. It's all working in different rhythms together.
Yeah.
Our body.
In perfect harmony. They mesh, but they don't touch.
God, I feel like I want to sing a Coke commercial right now.
In perfect I know, right?
Harmony.
Right, I know. Right, the Coca-Cola song. Yeah, right, no joke. Shit. But they knew what they were doing too. That's why they did it.
And honestly, Ariel, I think she likes power tools. Like that got my attention. Ariel likes power tools. I like power tools.
yeah. Ariel's talking. Ariel's talking about different kind of tools.
I like things, create things, and
Denise says she likes ZZ Top. I like ZZ Top, but they're more poppy than they are metal.
They were good back in the day. They were a little bit hard back when they first started back in the day. Right, when they were doing, Hard Dress Man or whatever that was back then, they were pretty hard back in the 80s. They got kind of poppy as time went. A lot of bands did, right? A lot of bands kind of sold out.
Well, they did what they were told, right?
Right at the beginning, though, they sounded like some old blues.
Label
like,
says do it.
Some old black.
Yeah, that's because they were doing
like. The Rolling Stones' first album was a bunch of covers. They started out singing cover songs. They weren't even singing their own songs.
No, I agree.
Who says those songs are their own songs? Because usually producers tell them to say something.
Kind of like jazz. A lot of jazz songs and blues and or like folk songs. A lot of them are covers.
Refurbished or covers or
I mean, you do it like your own way, But yeah, I was amazed when I found out Stevie Ray Vaughan played mostly cover songs. He wrote songs, but most of them were covers.
Right, Steve Vai did the same thing. A lot of cover songs, and then
they all do
Tony
that.
McAlpine.
Yeah, because
you remember Tony McAlpine? He was kind of that way. He went crazy.
Man. It's like, it's the real way.
It. A lot of times, like singer-songwriters will compose something, and I guess their circadian rhythm, or for whatever reason, they'll record their song, and it'll end up going to somebody else who is the one who makes the song famous. Like it's not the one who originally.
And they changed the way the song was written. Right?
They'll rearrange it.
I was watching The Voice. No, not The Voice, but Idol. And one of the girls came up on week 2, and she was doing a song that what's his name wrote. But he wasn't the one who sang it. He wrote it, and Whitney Houston sang it. And she changed the song. But the artist who came to sing it was singing his version of it, which was completely different.
Listen to Dolly Parton sing and listen to Whitney, and you're like, that's not even the same song, but it is.
But it is. Right. Because Dolly wrote it. Whitney sang it. She changed it.
If you put Norma in an evening gown and dress her up and then put her in like a potato sack and put her on the corner, and you tell somebody that's the same chick, they'll look at you like you're fucking crazy. But it is.
Right?
But
Like,
it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that would be the Cinderella story, right?
Sorry, I didn't mean to just.
Oh
do
no.
that.
No,
It is
it's
it
you're
works,
absolutely right
right?
though, and that has to do with the
I don't
ebb
know
and
where that
flow
came
of
from.
different rhythms as well,
Somebody's smoking some good ganja.
No,
right?
no, it came from the idea that a song is like a little black dress. Like
Yep.
this is somebody told me that a song is like a little black dress. It has
Yep.
legs or it doesn't. And like
Right.
if a song has legs, you can put any what do you call jewelry
Dressings.
accessories. You can accessorize the little black dress, arrange it any way
Yep.
you like.
Right.
So like when I did my cover of Gimme Shelter, I put it in when I did my cover of Watchtower, All on the Watchtower, I put it in 3/4 time. I just
Right.
completely changed the time signature.
Changes it
That's-
completely, right?
You know,
That's where I think like we get into this place where people want to protect their music, and it's like, yeah, but motherfucker, you stole from somebody too.
Right.
Like, if you're an original, like you're never original. It's all like somebody else tapped into that music, like we were just talking about with Dolly
Right.
Parton
Right.
and Whitney Houston.
Yeah, it's hard to
and
think
I
that
think
you're
that to a
creative.
certain extent, I
and-
feel like
yeah.
music needs to be that way. It kind of cyclically goes that way. It's just
Right.
Yeah.
there are certain rules, and that's kind of how,
Right.
like we have chords, we have progressions. You know what I mean?
Right.
And those, there's
well, but we also have
progressions that sound-
laws, federal laws that protect songwriters from
Yeah, but
like.
you know what? I have to
like,
agree
if
with
I write-
Aaron
if
because
I
as a
write-
musician, when you're listening to a band, I can take any band, a rock band especially, and they start playing, and I'm going to go, oh, they've been influenced by Led Zeppelin.
Right.
There's some
Yeah.
Metallica licks in there. Oh,
Yeah.
AC/DC, they're
But
AC/DC
that's
fans. Look, Green Day. There's some
not
Green Day licks. There's some
a
hooks from
melody.
Green Day. So that you
right
incorporate
now,
that.
word for word is different.
Yeah.
but
Right. Right.
that's
yeah.
the whole thing about back in the sharecropper days here in America. They were allowing each other to like use those songs, just like with classical music. Classical music, right? To my understanding, was
Right, it's all public domain.
the reason that
Skinner.
music was written down is so you
Respect.
could actually play that song at home. It's like listening to the radio.
I think 1919 is when it may have been earlier, but there's something about 1919 that sticks in my head about copyright law. Like, and I'm kind of all over this because I'm in the middle of something myself. But
Well, I mean, yeah,
yeah.
I think that's just it is. I think it gets all kind of convoluted a little bit, right? It's hard to get really what the actual true history is. But
well,
somewhere along the line, yeah, I mean, someone decided that they didn't want someone else to be utilizing what they felt like they produced and fought for some rules.
I mean, is music really yours? Is art really the one who made it? Yeah, to a certain.
well,
to an
yeah,
unwritten
I would say
perspective,
yes,
but-
because if I come up with a melody that I heard in my head, where did I hear it from? Not another person. I heard it. It was like an
listen to
inspiration.
music, you might have been
My
influenced by
consciousness,
music
because
by
I was a
another song.
conduit. Right, but like if I'm a conduit and something specific comes out, somebody else plays it. Like,
Right.
and that's fine. But if they're going to play it and go make money off of it, then you need to license it. And like, if
Yeah,
you're gonna
and that-
play it,
that
I get
right
that,
there-
Like
yeah.
I said, somewhere along the line, someone
That
decided that, you
right
know what,
there
I
is
can't
the
just
rub,
let you take
okay?
this stuff. So.
That's the only reason why we fight over it is because we've set up a caste system where we also have to have money. So
Yeah.
everything becomes monetized.
Yeah.
So if you
Right.
create something
Yep.
for the entire world,
And if you're
you
making a
have
lot
to
of money on
monetize
it,
it.
of course.
Yeah,
Of
someone
course,
wants to
yeah.
monetize it because if you don't, someone's going to steal it from you and
Yeah.
make money
Yeah.
off your shit.
Yeah.
Instead of the right way, which it should be on this planet, where everything that is created is given. And
right,
it's for
like
everyone.
nobody's making money off of any of that. It's
There
just
shouldn't
a
be any
shared,
money.
beautiful
Should be no
thing
money.
that we
Should be
all
no
get
reason for
here.
money.
Right.
There is no reason for money. We don't need
But-
it.
Okay.
We don't have to have it. It's an
Been-
hold on.
illusion.
I gotta
It's a
put gas
lie.
in my car. Goddamn, that's
It's a construct.
Yeah,
So that people who are rich
But as long
get
as we're
richer.
participating in the
Yeah.
construct, you got to go along with the rules. Like,
That's right.
Or you
Yeah.
change
Hold on,
the rules
but
so
hold
you
on,
don't
hold on,
belong
hold on.
with the
Change them.
rules.
You can start to change them. You can
That's
kind
right.
of switch things up
You change
little
the
by
rules.
little. You know,
You
do
change the
without,
narrative. You
Yeah.
rewrite the narrative. We just talked about this off air. Right?
it's
You
hard,
rewrite
but
the
it's
narrative.
kind of like being a ghost in the system.
Right.
Like you're doing something that's parallel to what the system's doing and working within the system.
Right.
You know, because we all have to, because that's the way it is right now. But that, like those people that are out like in the middle of nowhere in southern Utah, those, I mean, for the most part, unless it's something close to town and it's something really out of whack, they don't mess with those people. They just do their thing.
Right.
If they're out there and they're, you can live that way, but you still need gas, you still need supplies, you still need all these things that come in on ships, right?
Or space enough to be able to
But
make
see,
yourself
they
sustainable,
monitor
right?
everything and turn it back into money. Here's a perfect example. My sister, her and her boyfriend are living in a apartment, and they're only paying like $450 rent because they're on low income housing. So we have a family plan for our cell phones so that we only pay $25 a month for each cell phone and get unlimited everything. So we have like 7 of us on a plan. So I pay for my cell phone and my mom's cell phone. So I use PayPal, and I give my sister $50 every month. They're renewing her lease, and someone looked into her bank account and said, "Why are you getting $50 a month from this man?"
Right.
Well, that's my brother, and he's paying me for his cell phone. No, he can't be doing that.
No, so you would have to be in your name, and then she'd have to.
Right, it's cross-contaminating finances, and if they're going to get.
Why are they actually getting into your finances?
Because they will knit and they will pick.
They're getting into her finances to see if she qualifies for public housing.
You really deserve to have our help.
Because she's a slave. Because she's a slave, and they're going, slave, why do you get $50 extra every month? Where is this income, and what's it for? It's for the cell phone bill. No. We're going to send him information, and you need to have him fill that out and stop paying you $50 a month, or you're disqualified, and your rent goes up to $1,700 a month.
Well, how about instead of going that way, how about this? How about, like, I don't know. Maybe she shouldn't have a cell phone that she's paying for in her name at all. Maybe it should go in somebody else's name, and
it's actually
working with the system. That's right.
Fix it that way.
It's already in her
complaining about the way the system is. Adapt and go navigate. Like,
guys,
either that, or you're gonna have to pay directly to the company so they don't pay coming into her.
Hello. I'd like to answer that. It's already not in her name. Well, but her old man doesn't have a PayPal account or a bank account because they're stuck in the dark ages where they get a card and they use the card and they put money on the card and they don't have a bank account. So because of that,
can I ask a question? Like, and
so
this
because
is
of that, now I have to give them cash so that it goes under the radar.
You don't have to do anything.
People don't know what's going on.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have.
Yes, I do, because if I don't, then the money doesn't get paid for my cell phone.
Right. Well,
so I have to pay them for my cell phone. So I have to change how I'm doing it because my sister.
You figure out through the company because there's multiple lines.
How about I take my money and leave it in PayPal and use it to pay for something using PayPal instead of putting it in my bank account?
Right. Well, see, so if you contact the phone company itself, right, because the family plan, right, even if it's your brother-in-law or whoever's name it's under, whatever. But I'm pretty sure, though, because it's a family plan, if you went and you contacted them and you said, you know what, I'm just trying to pay these 2 right now, these 2 phone bills or this portion or whatever, they will let you do that. I'm pretty sure of it, at least here in Utah, because my brother used to do it like constantly.
That's a waste of my time. If I'm going to do that,
okay,
I'm
well, you
cell
can
phone
either
pay
waste
bill.
your time or your sister can be, like, not in housing. Like, something's got to give something.
It's much easier than that. It's much easier than that. I don't understand why it's even a thing and we're discussing it. You guys are too high.
I don't know.
It's much easier than that. I said, okay, for right now, I can't go to an ATM because I'm hobbled and I'm not going to get crutches to go and get you money for the next couple of months. So I'm going to pay you PayPal. You leave it in PayPal and spend it that way. After that, when I can get to a bank account, I will get cash for you. And when you come up here, I'll hand you $50 fucking and you can pretend that you can do whatever you want with that and don't put it on your fucking bank account. And the government doesn't know about it and they can kiss all of our asses.
That's what I'm saying. Adapt to how you guys are doing it so that they can't see that.
Well,
that's all.
You guys were too busy explaining all of that for me to go. And so the answer was I adapted. And said,
change how we're doing stuff so
I
that
had
we
to
can
wait,
not have it look like that.
10 minutes while you guys were telling me how to fix it.
And Miguel's been shut the hell up this whole
time. He keeps looking at the camera going, Leo, are you just letting this happen?
Well, but I have another question.
I'm out. He's just like, I'm out. I'm cool. I'll just sit here.
Miguel actually was going to say something when it came to music. Like when I brought up copyright law being in place for whatever reason and whatever, but Miguel had something to say way back 7 hours ago.
Right.
So I'd like to hear what he has to say about that.
No, it's just that everybody says that I talk too much, so I'm trying to.
Well,
Tell me that
clearly,
too, brother.
no, you
Don't
don't.
listen to them. They tell me that. Everybody says that. They tell you that. If you're on a talk show and you're a talk show host, it's your fucking job to talk. Anybody that doesn't like that, change the fucking channel to somebody else. Do you know a talk show host that comes on and goes, "Hi"?
But you know what I think we should do though?
I do sometimes.
I have a really bad habit of talking over people. So like,
Everyone
That's
in this
the problem.
stream does, Leanne. Welcome to the pirate ship.
Talking gross.
Talking over, not really talking too much, but talking over.
Well,
That
right. I
Like
has
like
been
triggered to your own
something
story and then speaking, right?
that has been a
It's like
sync that we have been
response.
working on from the beginning, and Leanne's new, and so we're finding that rhythm again. So
So
what
what?
we're talking about as far as the copyright,
Here, let's
people
let
do
me.
have their own right to their own stuff, and saying that we want to eliminate cash and money, we have needs and things that is just representative of. The thing is that we need to realize what those needs are, because the system itself will eat you up and spit you out.
Right.
So it's meaningless. So what you need to do is, what do I need that system for? And you try and find a way around it outside of the system, and that's the best way to do it. However, that was before Leo said, "Look, I just told him I'll owe you and I'll pay you back later." That's perfect.
I'll just I'll get it to you when I get cash. You'll be fine.
So you just kill the whole thing off in an instant. So yeah, there it goes.
But yeah, it is. It's finding out what exactly it is you're
I'm waiting
having
for my
to pay
crutches
for
to
and
get
then
here. I
figuring
had
out
to
how
fire one company.
get beyond that.
It seems like I'm getting opposition still. When I first got home from the hospital, they said, you have to order a knee scooter. So I'm like, okay, I ordered a knee scooter and it didn't show up. So then I had to order another knee scooter and it showed up. Then I tried to get on that knee scooter at 300 pounds and put my knee on it and said, fuck this noise. I'm going to blow my knee out. I thought it was just me. My sister came over, who's not overweight. And I said, look, I got pads on there and everything. She put her knee on this and she said, fuck this, I'd crash or I'd blow my knee out. I said, she goes, why did you buy this? I said, because the hospital told me that it was the best thing. And she was like, what? Did you buy crutches? I said, I bought them. The first company didn't ship them. They were a medical company that sells medical supplies. And they were on back order. I was like, oh, okay, someone's buying products from China. So I then went to Walmart, who has Chinese products in stock, and the Chinese products in stock were there, and they're going to ship it to me. But they said 3 to 5 days. And then when I said, buy it, they said, it'll be here in 7 days. And I'm like, you just said 3 or 5, and I paid you to be 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, shut up, you're getting it. Gotta love big box companies, man. So now I'm almost 3 weeks out of the hospital without crutches.
And you still haven't gotten
crutches.
crutches, so you can't move around. But you busted out your knee because supposedly what was supposed to fix you didn't fix you. So, who do you bitch at and who do you get to fix your knee?
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And it is my left knee, the one that I screwed up playing football. So I already have damage done to it. So if I put my knee on that and put weight on it, I'm going to blow it out even worse. I already got a torn ACL. I'm going to blow it out even worse.
And so you're already in the hospital.
Why are you holding a fork?
Now you're going to get in there for your
What
knee.
is she doing with that fork, man? Back away from the fork, man. It's all good, bro. Your mic is muted. We can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Because I was trying to do the light before. Okay, so here it is.
Oh,
when I want to talk, I'm going to try to raise my hand and not talk over.
I saw you because you had the fork up. I thought you were saying
I had the fork up because I was
fork you, Leo.
Fork you. This forking place. Miguel said, who's going to fix your knee? So I held the fork up, and I was trying to say that I would very happy to do it with my dingle hopper, and that my medical assistant right here would be happy to hold your ass down while I do it.
Right.
All right, so you're gonna dig into his knee. That's how you're doing it, or is that like
it's not that forking serious? Christy says.
I'm handy, okay? I can do
she said,
with this
it's
fork.
not that forking serious, man. Then she laughed. That's good. I love it, Christy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy. The way the medical system works anymore, they go by like protocol and procedures.
Oh my God, it's so stupid.
It's gotten to a point that even those that care kind of are still it's just
the doctors can't do anything about the system itself.
Well, and you know what? I want to talk about that. Let's go down that.
They don't use forks.
Let's talk about this algorithm that is AI that has to do with when you call somebody. I call up Kaiser Permanente, and the first thing that fucking happens is a robot answers me and asks for my medical record number. So I give it to the robot. Then the robot sends me over to a human, and the first thing the human asks me is the same fucking question. Can I have your medical record number? I just gave it to your robot. Does
no,
it talk
but
to
you
you?
have a dingle hopper.
They don't talk to each
Right.
other. They don't
Why
have the
am I giving it
communication.
to the computer and then you bypass the fucking computer and save $100 million a year from some quack who told you needed the computer?
Well, yeah, it
That's
sucks because a
worse.
lot of people get stressed out because they get into certain fields because they actually care, but then the system in which they're working in, this field that they cared so much about,
Doesn't allow
ends up
them to
like
care.
just kind of destroying their soul, really.
They're getting
You know?
everybody hooked on AI. Have you seen the apps? People can't even lose weight these days unless they have an app that tells them, stop eating, you fat slob, because their relatives say it and they go, fuck you. But an app, they go, oh, thank you so much. If I didn't have this app, I'd be fat.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well,
They're getting AI telling them what to do. Time to go to
It's
sleep,
systematic.
time to eat, time to take a shit, time to stay out of the refrigerator.
Everybody's been
well, actually, that actually
programmed
almost
to
helped
think that
me
they
stop
have.
smoking. Back when I was 16. Sorry to
No, go ahead,
interrupt.
brother. Say that, please.
No, but back when I was 16, that almost helped me stop smoking. There was this little, fuck, that was 35 years ago. No, fuck, yeah, about that. And basically, I programmed in every time that I smoked a cigarette, and then it would tell me after 2 weeks, it would set up a little program, and it would tell me when I could smoke. And in the beginning, it was okay, more or less a rhythm that I already had. And then it would reduce that rhythm. You know, instead of 20 a day, it went down to 17 a day, and then went down to 10 a day. And by the time I was down to 1 cigarette a day, and it said, all right, let go, no more cigarettes. And I'm like, fuck that, I don't like non-smokers. They're a pain in the ass.
I'm
Right?
going back to this.
Well, see, and
rhythm.
that's just it. Is
And back, I'm
there's
past the
plenty of
pack.
programs and things out there that are so helpful and awesome and whatever it is you personally need for your growth. But when you become dependent on that and you don't even you don't even know like how to get your own food. I mean, like, what would you do if the grocery store was closed, right? Like, I shop for myself daily to save carbon footprints, right? You know what I mean? Like, so I only get what I need. Well, if you only have what you need and you don't know how to go forage for your own shit, then what are you going to do?
Agreed. That's
Well,
why I wrote
I
a
think
book
the
about it.
species again has been programmed to look outside itself for everything it needs, which is
Right.
a problem.
Right.
Problem.
That's why I wrote a book about that called Prepping/Survival for Beginners, or Survival/Prepping for Beginners, because of that ideology. Everybody is so dependent. They centralized everything.
But that
Right,
was the
so
ultimate objective,
so they can
was
just
to
turn it off.
centralize everything.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
if you don't comply with the system, they can turn off your switch, and all of a sudden you have nowhere
The illusion of
to
choice.
sleep. You have
Look
no
what
place,
Macron's
no
doing
Really
up
have
in
it.
Canada.
Caveman
We have
days.
real choice.
Right? Look at Macron in Canada. He just turned everybody's bank accounts off, took the money
Boom.
that was theirs
Yep.
out of their banks, everything. That's going to happen here if we let them. Yeah.
They'll put you in jail just because you open your mouth, like they do in
Yep.
Australia.
Take a selfie, and apparently, if you take a selfie in
Assange
the
is put
Capitol
in jail
building
for
of the
how many
United
years
States,
now?
you get put in jail for no reason for 5 years.
There was a woman who posted on Facebook, and the cops broke her door down, and she was pregnant and hauled off to jail because she posted something against the government on the Australian government.
Oh yeah, I
on
remember
Facebook.
you brought that up a couple weeks ago. I remember
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah,
remember hearing
that
about
was-
that.
And there's
That was
many,
like
many
last
more
year,
you
the
don't hear
beginning of
about.
all this stuff. Exactly. And so you need to be.
People
you
need
get into a
to
rhythm.
stand up, man.
People
Yeah.
have gotten into this rhythm of the rat race, and they're not supplying their basic needs.
Thank
but
you for tying
they're
that back
following
into
a
that.
programming and a way that people are frustrated because they're rolling around in this little wheel. They're spinning their wheels, literally.
Yep.
And they're frustrated by that, but it's a
exhausting.
completely different rhythm. Yes, exactly, because it's not the
Right.
right rhythm. Have you guys seen Phenomenon with
Oh yeah.
John Travolta? Fucking, we
Yeah.
talked about that. And
Yeah.
remember, at the end of the movie, he found his rhythm. It was in
Yeah.
the swaying of the trees
Yeah.
because he was able to calm
Well,
himself down. That's what
I
people
want to
need.
further what Mike said, because you guys need to understand this. And I just said this to a friend of mine the other day, and I said it again to someone, but not on air yet. I don't think. I've been on air so much and off air so much. It's like Leanne, she's been on air more than I have, and I'm losing my voice for being on air so much, right? In the last couple of weeks, last 10 days. So, but I said this, what you guys need to understand, and Mike was touching on this, what you need to understand is that this politics, this power hungry, this ruling class, this money and monetary system is the religion of evil people. It is
Yeah.
their religion. You need to understand that. It's their spirituality. It's not just a construct that you think it's just like, oh, it's just politics and it has nothing to do with religion or spirituality.
Politics is a religion.
It is. It is their religion. Yes.
It is a religion of
Right.
control.
It is their
Because,
religion.
because if you're in control, you can control other people. And what they do every single time, they don't give you your freedom back. They take them away little by little on a constant basis until they have absolute control and you have no choice in anything that you do. You have no voice over your kids. You have no voice on what you do at work.
Politics is the
their
religion
system
that
of
utilizes
politics
religion
and
to
money.
But it's all part of this
power.
big base system
Yeah,
to where
but you know
everybody's
what?
tied
Who's
into it.
controlling the politics? It's the central bankers. It's the people who push
Yes.
the money.
Right.
It's the people who are in control of all the
Yes.
It's
money.
always,
Kids.
yeah,
Who
it's
are
always
telling
the
all the
money.
politicians what to do to serve them, how
That's
to get
right.
us to
That's
act
right.
like a bunch
Follow
of fucking
the
zombies
money.
so that
Now,
we can
the thing
serve
is,
them. Oh,
these
no,
people
that
are
is not
huge.
happening. Sorry.
These people are huge, and there's no way that we can necessarily control them. Hopefully, justice will be done eventually. But in the meantime, if you recognize that there are problems in that system, you try and pull yourself away from it little by little. I mean, it's like it's like me quitting smoking. You can't do it cold turkey. Well, some people do,
Well, you
but I
can.
was doing it. Yeah, exactly. I've had
Takes
friends
a
that
lot of
had.
will, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I did it little by little, to where I was smoking a little bit less each day, and it seemed to help.
As a
And
disciplined
so
person would.
getting outside of the system. See, if you want to cut it off immediately, then go off grid. But nobody's ready to go off grid immediately. So what you
Right.
do is you reduce your dependence on the system for each individual thing. All right. So if you need electricity, what kind of other source of electricity can you get? If you need food, what are sources of food that you can get? Get to know a farmer around, do them favors, find out that you have sustenance. What are sources of water that you have access to? Those basic things so that you're not dependent on the system. Little by little, you go creating your own bubble of independence. And that way you don't
Yeah.
have to conform whenever these control freaks tell you, hey, you have to jump through this hoop tomorrow.
Exactly.
That means
Or you don't eat.
starting an herb garden in your kitchen in an apartment in New York
Right,
City
right.
in a high rise.
Exactly.
That's one way of starting it, right?
It's one
Little
way
by
of
little,
preparing
step by
yourself,
step.
knowing how to do that.
Little by little.
Knowing how much you use, how much
Yep.
do you need to plant to utilize this herb for your magic herbs and food,
Or for your food, yeah.
you eat. How much do you need for this, that, and the other? Right.
Some great books,
starting
Leonard.
that
You got to
small
put the
space.
link.
Less
You got to put the
reliant
link in
on
the
less
description
reliant
so
on
we
the
can buy
system.
those.
Right,
Sorry,
you can get those on Kindle if you go to Amazon. You guys can get it on Kindle for less than $5, maybe $5.
Nice.
I have a couple of my grandma's little prepper books too.
There's other books that I don't have right here in the room with me that you guys should look into, but I would suggest there's, they're advertising everywhere. If you look at the old ways, I think it's what it's called. I don't have it in here in front of me. Yes, I do, but I have shit piled on. Give me a second and I'll pull it up here. I've shown you guys this before while we were on air, but right now I have my Bible sitting on top.
There you go.
This one is not something that I wrote. This is completely independent from me, but this is The Lost Ways. And this is a nice
That's
book.
an excellent book.
Yeah, and that is excellent. And it has everything, including pictures of flora, pictures of what you would be looking at in nature. And this is one of those books that's like
nice.
my survival book, that if you have it in your possession and the world gets shitty, like Leanne was talking about and like Norma was talking about and like Mike was talking about, if they try to turn everything off, you can live off the land. People lived off the land for the first,
Everything.
2 million years that we were here.
Exactly.
It was only since 1920 that they started centralizing all of the food products and banking, and they've done that consistently
Well,
since
more
then.
so
They've been doing it the
how
entire
gets here, the
century.
shipping and
This is like a 180-year-old plan,
Yep.
and they're implementing. The thing is that nobody noticed.
Right, because they do it so slowly. They're like druids. They pay attention to the long game.
Yeah.
The Chinese are the same way. They've adopted a lot of druidic
Little by
ideology.
little, that's how we do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what, I mean, I'm a Merlin. Let's be serious. That, the whole ideology of time is very important, because people are wanting, they want you to believe that everything should be now, instant access. So they get you to forget about the idea of time, that you can create something very small right now that can become very big in 20 years. But everybody wants everything to change so rapidly.
instant gratification.
You just can't do it. Yeah, you can't
right
do
now. Yep.
They don't have the vision yet, or they haven't tapped into
Right.
that vision
Well,
yet.
that's
They don't
just
want
it.
to look that far
It's
ahead.
been slowly
Socially
programmed
engineered to
into
expect
each of us
everything
that it
right
should happen
now.
right now. I think
That's more programming. I
being
think
lost
This-
is more
this-
than just a personality defect. I
Right.
think
Agreed.
it's like that slow drip of, This is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it's supposed to be. And you're going and you're looking at your life going, but it's not yet. But it's not yet. Oh my God.
Right. And why isn't it? What am I doing wrong? I'm not buying into the system enough. Yeah, I agree. That's what they want you to do.
What? Yeah. Here it is. Like, I'm going to do it. Like, here. What's the definition of circadian rhythm? You're talking about natural rhythms and all this stuff. The rhythms or the chaotic lack of rhythm that they keep zapping us with through all of these distractions, through all of the ideologies that we're supposed to be, whatever it is they say. Like, whose narrative?
Right.
Like, why are we supposed to be anything they say in the first place? Like, I don't get why nobody asks that question. Like,
I kind of actually want to kind of wonder why we all think the person with the most money has the most values and is the most knowledgeable and is the most where the fuck did we come up with that association?
Right. But that's
like the belief system that nothing exists until the American government tells us so. Right. So no one believes UFOs are real because the American government hasn't said they're real. Because somewhere it's written that they're God, and that without them telling us, that means aliens don't exist. What the fuck?
It's a deep programming, right?
People have been
trained
Well, that was one of my biggest problems when I went to study SETI. I mean, I studied astronomy for a year just so I could qualify to study SETI, which I wanted to go after because I've been studying UFOs since I was a fucking kid. Because there's images of those motherfuckers on the temples in the Mayan
I've seen them, bro. Seriously.
So all of a sudden, I'm studying this, and they're telling me, "Oh, wait, traveling to other places is impossible because it's so far away. And in order to do this, so we're going to focus on symbols." And I'm thinking, if it's impossible, then how the fuck did they get here?
Right? How do they know?
We just haven't reached that technological level. Don't say it's impossible.
If it's impossible, how do they know that?
Well,
exactly.
I mean, how do they know it's possible?
And so it's all the program.
In boxes. Here's what we want to let you know. Here's what we actually know.
This is what the indigenous people know. They've known it their whole like forever, and this is why we keep trying to shut them up, kill them. That's why we find like 10,000
because they're destroying Americans.
Agreed.
Nuts.
Agreed.
They keep wanting to control what information we have access to because they can control what you think.
Well, yeah, because just like Tom McDonald said in his song, the only way your reality works is you have to censor us.
Yep.
Right?
We can't.
Well, you have to get us to make what they're doing is getting us to create
their
reality for them.
Their reality for them. That's right. Yeah. Because we're not told that we're creating.
Yes,
listen,
it's just like the pyramids. Did the pharaohs build the pyramids
for so long that we've grown up with these beliefs that this is the way it's supposed to be? This is the dream.
Right, Norma.
Yeah, let Leanne continue because she's making a very big point here that needs to be said.
What I was going to say is we are all, and I'm repeating something I heard. This is not my original thing. And nothing I say is probably original because even if I'm channeling, I'm getting it from the collective in the field. So, but we're all projectors. We're not taught this. Like our thoughts and our feelings project into a field. The field responds. The field doesn't care if we think, "Oh, I'm going to murder somebody." It loves us as much as if we're going to go be nice to somebody. This idea of good and bad is the thing that they give us to use to beat ourselves up so that we can stay looking outside for some fix.
Yes,
it's all bullshit. The only thing that's real is whatever consciousness you are. A consciousness doesn't need a physical body. Correct. This consciousness chose to have a biology so that it could experience something. But this goes to the interdimensional, ultradimensional, all this other stuff. Like it's there, which is like, why do I need the government to tell me that the ethers exist? It makes no sense. Like
there's so much going on that we're just simply disconnected.
They're not paying attention. But see, this is why we have these conversations. The more people listen to us talk like this, even if they're non-believers, the idea that somebody else is having this, you can't remove the idea that somebody else is talking about it once.
Exactly.
Oh my God, the cat just went and clawed my.
Why a lot of sensories happening, right? That's why they're trying to block this stuff and keep it on the DL. It's still all out there. You can find just about anything you want to still, but it gets harder and harder to find, right? Because they know you can't. Once it's out there and it's out there and it's planted in your mind, even if it's something you don't believe. Yes, your mind, your conscious mind
Still
It's-
gets you
it'll
there.
gonna fight for
about
your
it.
beliefs, right?
You
Even if your
can't
beliefs are
not.
wrong, it's really gonna try its hardest to really make whatever it is fit into what it
Look, so
believes.
that would basically,
Whatever
Until you
narrative
become conscious
it
of the fact that
understands.
you're fighting
Well-
for something that you should be questioning.
Get this. I'll take what Norma just
Miguel's
said.
got his
Because
Miguel's
what
pulling up
Norma just said.
his stick.
Sorry, Leonard. What Norma just said. What did you wait? Say what you said again, Norma.
Basically, the human mind, this lifetime, your being, your brain, is going to work on, if you believe something, you're going to fight for whatever it is that you're experiencing to fit within whatever it is you believe.
Right.
Until
Okay.
you are aware enough and understand enough and question enough to actually go, wait, do I believe that really though? Why am I
Exactly.
reacting this way?
And the
Until
idea
you
that
actually
nobody
become
questions
conscious
it.
and aware of how you're working and how you're acting in the world, until you become conscious of yourself. And that's not always to say you're going to ascend to the highest places. But once you get to know your mind, and I think you're waiting. Yes, sorry.
No.
All right, now
I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm listening.
Let's go to Mike, because even the people in the audience are asking for Mike to continue with what he was saying, and then I want to further that as well to explain where the two of you just went, because the audience is like, I'm confused and don't know where they just went. So Mike, please, they're asking, please circle back to the pyramids and come forward to there, and then I'll go from there, please.
I was going to get to the pyramids. However, there was the point of which now I forgot. The point about the pyramids was, did the pharaohs build it? No, the slaves built it, and they controlled the slaves in order to build those pyramids.
Correct.
And they're trying to make us build their pyramids again. So don't fucking participate.
It's a template.
And the other one was a resonance that you guys had in the last of the conversation. It just slipped my mind exactly what I was trying to get to there, and that was actually the reason why I picked up the stake, because I had forgotten about the pyramid thing. Because it was just a quick,
but it all ties, and that's why I wanted you to go back to there and then come forward, because I want to explain how they got to where they're at and why.
Right.
Because they know, Leanne knows, and so does Norma, but it wasn't explained to the crowd. So I wanted to explain, because Leanne said it, but she didn't explain it. Okay, so what has happened, and goes back to the pyramids. The pyramids were built by the slaves, but the overseers made them do that. It's the same thing. That's what they're trying to get us to do now. In everything, they're convincing us why. Leanne said it, and they segued from that. So why is the what? The what is, they understood that if they took the knowledge away from us, that all of what we do in our reality and our belief creates this reality as a co-creator. They took that knowledge away from us and erased it from all the scrolls. They tried to erase it from, eradicate it from every human person, so that we didn't know that.
They're
and
still
once
trying to do
we were
it.
born without it,
constantly.
then they tell us what to do, and they say, well, you're a slave and your job is to do this. And even if they don't say you're a slave, you have to go to work and you have to be a part of the society, because you got to be worker bee. And you have to create what we have installed for you, and you don't know any difference, so that's what you do. And that's what Leanne was talking about, and that's what Norma was talking about.
And what I wanted to interject into all of that was, for example, Leanne was talking about the dichotomy of positive, negative, and it all good and nothing's bad. Sorry, fuck that shit. If you have this urgent need to go out and kill somebody, the universe will answer your plea that you're going to be passing on some bad fucking mojo onto the universe. So what you need to do, our objective, individual objective, fuck the system, fuck everything else. It doesn't goddamn matter. What matters is the resonance that you put out. If you feed good in there, you are actually feeding those seeds of good into other people, so that they can be patient, so that they can make sure that your resonance is a positive one and not a negative one, not a destructive one. That's basically what we need to do. Everything else can be forgotten because they're details.
Leanne's got her hand up.
Leanne's turn. Sorry, I'm done.
It's Leanne's turn. You're all right.
I just want to speak to what Miguel said, and it's like it's maybe I didn't sometimes because my brain and my thoughts go so fast and my mouth can't keep up, and Muggle doctors say that's because I need pills because I'm ADD, and they can go fuck themselves too. But what I wanted to say,
you assume everybody else knows what you're thinking. My
right.
That's why I get you.
But Miguel said,
Norma does too. That's why I get you guys. You guys assume we know what you're thinking. Go ahead.
Miguel said that I said that it's all good and the universe doesn't care. The source energy does not give a flying fuck. It expresses itself. I didn't say that if you go murder somebody, you're not going to have some kind of which every action has its equal and opposite action. I didn't I excluded that from what I said, but I
But it'll
don't
present you
think
the
that there's
opportunity to
no,
fix that need.
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
just
She didn't
because source
explain that
has
part because it
no,
really didn't pertain to
Right.
what she was saying at the time, but it does pertain in the grand scheme of things. Mike's right. Yeah.
right, absolutely. So yeah,
Which
there's
is why, you know,
karma.
when you start to understand your mind and where your ultimate, like, because we have the knowledge of infinity within
Yep.
every single one of us. Okay.
You just have to find it.
But
We just forget it.
We're living in a new egotistical being, right? Experiencing
And
a new experience in its own unique way. So understanding your uniqueness this time, how your mind works, where those triggers come from, is so crucial.
Yep.
Because ultimately your physiology, your body, your being today is reacting to that. It was a
Okay,
clean
so
slate when it was born.
because you're
No matter
informing
how much you knew,
yourself.
right?
but let me expand
so-
on that. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to know yourself better? And why do you, for what?
Why should you,
ultimate
right?
purpose? Exactly. For what
Well,
end goal? And see, that's the whole thing. It's that the process is great, but you have to have a destination for that process. Otherwise, you're just spiraling and go ahead, Leanne. Sorry.
Even in the Bible, it's know thyself. If you don't know who you are, if human being doesn't know that it's consciousness using a body to be a conduit,
Yes.
to have a physical
If I'm not here,
experience,
I'm
and
gonna
that they're
get that
projecting
right
that, if we don't understand what we are or how we work, we can't
it becomes chaotic
possibly
and messy.
be coherent out there if we're not coherent in here. So the hard
Well, but
work,
Depends on someone else. Yeah.
it's just a self-discovery, self-realization, but not ego-centric.
Right.
The
Right.
ego
But
is
see,
always
Understanding
part
your
of the reason,
ego
part of the
for
reason that we
today's
need to know ourselves
thing, but
is because, like the Ichigai, there is a reason why we came here. There's a reason why we came to this planet. There's a reality that we needed to experience. There were lessons that we needed to learn.
yeah.
Knowing ourselves is one part of it. If you listen to Sun Tzu, The Art of War, he says the warrior who doesn't know his enemy and doesn't know himself will lose the majority of the battles. The
Right.
enemy that
Know
knows
yourself,
himself
knows your
and
enemy.
does not know the enemy at a 50-50 chance. If you know yourself and you know your adversary, then you have a better chance of winning. And the objective of
Knowing
knowing
yourself,
ourselves
knowing your
is
enemy.
part of the process. We need to
Ultimately.
find our Ichigai. Why did you come to this planet? What lessons do you have to learn? And how are you going to learn them
yes.
and implement the lessons? Because in the end, we are to be non-destructive beings and shedding love into the world, because that is the ultimate purpose,
Agreed.
in my opinion.
Agreed.
However,
Yes, but if I cannot see all that darkness and that chaos, and if I cannot see within my enemy what I would be if I, you know what I mean? Not that I
Right.
am or would or whatever, but if I'm willing to ignore that, I'm not going to see it coming.
Because we
To
are
know
destruction
yourself
and we
is
are
to know
chaos.
your enemy.
you have to look at the idea that if human being, like, and they had so many conversations about this over the last 11 days. If a human being, let's just say, let's pretend that this narrative is true, just for the sake of this conversation. I'm not
Right.
saying it is or it isn't. Some kind of sapien was hybridized with something, so that now the result is that, hi, how you doing? We're here.
Right.
Okay. So what is it that if our DNA, like, it's just so big. The idea
That's
is
the whole-
Which
those
is why
details
I
are
like
cool,
to use video games.
But you can take
right?
it and look at it from a grander perspective, which meaning like you were just talking about earlier, which is coming from that source, knowing that we are put here. We obviously know we're an individual. I can look at
I'm in
myself,
this
I can look
avatar
at my
playing this
hand,
role.
and I can say, that is my hand. And I
Mhm.
can touch it and go, yep, I feel it.
Yes, yeah.
That is my individuality, which is the ego, right? But we all do work from the same field. We're all like, I like to look at it as
And
more
we're a
like
biological machine.
this probably is too linear too, but a clockwork. We're a clockwork of things working at the same time.
Yes, a biological machine, right?
That goes to the rhythm, though. That's the cyclical
Understanding
rhythm.
how it all works
And
together.
in nature,
Right.
you have to understand everything works
this
on
avatar.
the number 12. So looking at the clock face is more right, Aaron, than you think it is when it comes to the cyclical nature of the universe itself. Everything is multiples of 12.
Yep.
People need
When
to
they
realize that.
88
Yeah.
miles an hour.
You're right.
Go back in time.
Right.
Right.
That was interesting. That was a good movie, actually.
Yeah,
The
there
clock
was.
tower. Remember the clock? That was a
Clock
big
tower
deal.
was the clock. Right. What was the time on the clock? Right. The clock tower,
Oh,
the whole
shit,
thing.
don't ask me
That
to
I didn't
remember that.
remember. That's too
Right.
much for me.
Like,
but that is the cyclical nature of both. You have to understand that. Christy said we learned this in group. You don't know the light without knowing the dark. You have to know
That's
both,
what
because
you have to
can't
know
see
your
the
adversary.
light without knowing the darkness
Right.
first, and you
But you
can't
do
know the
have to
darkness
know-
without knowing the light.
Well,
Yeah.
because
You
if
do
I'm
have to know your adversary, and in like Norma's telling us, your adversary is yourself. What is the evil that you're trying to not put onto the world? Sometimes you have to identify it so that you can actually control it and
That's right.
bring it down to a less destructive nature. But if you don't face it, it builds up and it ends up being more destructive than it originally
Oh, that's
was.
what I wanted to say. Sorry.
Go ahead, Leanne.
Go ahead.
Accountability. People
Yeah.
don't want to be accountable for
Right.
what they're thinking and how that makes them feel, and they don't
Right.
want to they
want to
still
blame it on
don't
somebody else,
want to
externalize
understand
it.
that
Yeah.
that's what creates what comes. Like for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Do you guys,
Cause
do you guys
effect,
think?
yeah.
I got a question for you guys. Do you think that superficiality correlates a lot to what we're talking about? Like looking, like when we say look without, right? I feel like looking without or looking outside of ourselves is a good thing because there's discovery
Oh
there.
yes, there is.
But looking
Well,
just
let
like
me
there is looking
say
inside.
this.
But
Let me
looking
say
at,
this.
hold on, let me finish my question. Now,
Yeah.
if you could, please.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Just if don't you think that those correlate, and if they do, like the superficiality and like not being accountable, those play hand in hand. Sorry,
Yes,
I
would say that somebody here. You know what? Let's just when somebody asks a question, let's have somebody say in what order we're going to answer it. That might help. That might help.
Yeah, there you go. It might.
Yeah. Okay, Leanne, you go first. Then we'll go to Mike, and then we'll go to Norma, and then we'll go to me.
Okay. I think that superficiality has a lot to do with it because the ego, right, that we're given. For me, if I can control my ego, then it's a playground for me to play in. If I'm not controlling my ego, I then start letting the inmate run the asylum, and right, and then I'm reaching for all kinds of stuff that I think I want because somebody said, and the thing, and the who, and the next thing you know, 3 hours have gone by, you haven't gotten anything done, you're checking your Insta, your whatever, and what purpose? Like, where am I? What are we doing? Like, so yes, superficiality definitely feeds into the inability to take accountability, because taking accountability requires us to go inside and assess stuff as, like, if you can identify as the awareness that's watching your ego act like an asshat and go, oh, that's what they're talking about. Yeah, that guy acts like an asshat. Maybe I need to rein that in, and maybe I could go out there and just be a little more confident here, but from the awareness standpoint, not from the what's it going to get me, like.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, the fear factor.
Go ahead, Mike.
Because a lot of people actually will work out of fear. They won't be able to take responsibility for what they did because they'll get canned, they'll go to jail. There's going to be something bad will happen other than, this is what you do with little kids whenever they say, no, my brother did it, no, my sister did it, no, it wasn't me, I didn't write on the wall. And you wrote your fucking name on the wall, but it wasn't you. All right, why? Because they're always afraid of the consequences, and there always will be consequences, and those are lessons that need to be learned. But that's what we always do. We externalize because we can't take on the responsibility to try and improve ourselves instead of going, oh shit, yeah, I wrote that up there, I wasn't supposed to do that, sorry, I promise not to again. And that would be a whole different resonance than, no, they did it. But see, most people aren't taught that. Okay, they just learned that, no, it's easier to blame my brother or sister because, they'll get the rap and I'll just laugh at their pain because I kill two birds with one stone because I want to harm this other person anyway. And therein lies the rub, because we don't understand that we are the creator seeing his own creation, and we are all different versions of the same one. Okay, and that's where we come into acceptance of other people. Now, it's not saying that when we see other people doing things that we don't agree with, we don't change them. We try and recognize it's something in us that might be doing that, and try not to be a hypocrite by saying, oh no, you can't do that while you're doing the same thing over here. Because liars and thieves do that. They say, oh, he's stealing over there because you're already taking shit out the back door. Okay, so it's the magician thing. Now look over there while I'm doing shit over here. You know, if you recognize that we are all creator seeing himself from different perspectives of the same reality, then we understand that, okay, there's lessons to be learned by each one. I'm going to try and learn my lesson. At the same time, maybe I can shine light for others to learn their lessons. I'm not going to throw stones. I'm not going to destroy. I'm going to pick them up and say, hey, look, let's dust you off. Let's find out why you fell down. Let's try and keep you from falling down. And let's learn where some of these holes are so that we don't go into those holes. And that's my spiel. Thank you very much for listening.
That's
Okay,
basically
Norma.
what I was kind of getting at. It's basically knowing and understanding how you, your physiology, body, your avatar, how you work. And truly, because if you can go back in your mind for the mental and physiological, like many people don't quite understand why they react a certain way to certain things, right? They don't recall when it even started. They just know that every time this happens, they do this thing.
The trigger.
Right?
Yeah.
And so understanding really how your mind works, whether this was a physical thing, an emotion, it doesn't even matter really. But being able to recognize how your mind works, identify that issue, whether it's specific or not, does not matter. Identify it. Identify where it is well, every time you move that way, where is it you feel it? Where is it coming from? You find that thing. And then you heal that thing, right? And you can only do that really once you start to understand kind of how you work. But you don't put so much expectation on how you work that you just got it all figured out, right? Yes, we are multiple lifetimes. We are infinity, living in one being, trying to understand many other beings whilst understanding ourselves, right? It's a pretty complex thing. We're always thinking, we're always doing, we're always being able to truly understand how you work and make it work for you is the best thing to do, right? Once you start to understand how your physical works and you can tap into your upper, you start to flow so much easier. You find so much less resistance because now you're connected and you're no longer resisting subconsciously or whatever this thing that you have been reacting to for so long.
Right.
And the great thing is you don't necessarily even have to know what it was. You can just know that it's there, accept it, know that it doesn't work anymore, and get rid of it.
Yep.
Right. So,
but in the end, it's not necessarily.
Hold on, Mike.
Hold on, Mike.
Sorry, your turn, Leo. Sorry, my bad.
So I want to get back to the superficiality and the question that Aaron asked about superficiality and how it does that affect. It does only because the superficiality is a construct of this matrix that they've put in place of the matrix. So unfortunately, if you're stuck in this matrix, then you're stuck with the superficiality and you start believing in that. The problem with that is the fear that superficiality creates on a subconscious level. You guys don't realize until it happens, and then you're afraid of it because in a subconscious way, you realize this. The superficiality of this construct, when everyone believes in it, allows for the cyclical nature of the opposite of that superficiality, which turns into people doing nefarious murders, mass murders, and people that are doing things like serial killing. That has to do with the construct of the superficiality going awry in someone's mind because they've bought into the matrix 100%. And the fear that drives superficiality drives us to do crazy shit and murder somebody. And when we see it on the news, subconsciously, that fear is there because you think that could be me if I had one little thing go wrong today.
Right.
And that scares you, but you don't know why. And that has to do with the construct of, this is what Norma was saying, getting to know the brain and figuring it out so that you can push those things out. Leanne was saying the same thing, and Mike was saying the same thing. We need to understand the construct that has become that superficial ideology and the ramifications of that and how fragile that can make us. So I think that was a really beautiful question, Aaron, and I hope that you understood it when you put it. I think you did, and you put that in there going, I'm going to fuck with these guys because this is really needs to be said. And I think that I wanted to make sure that Aaron's question really got wrung out And then I
Yes.
want to hear from Aaron before we go to the next question, and then Leanne, because she raised her hand. Right.
Yep.
So I want to hear from Aaron because I know he constructed that on purpose and put that out there like a hand grenade.
Are you in the matrix? Or are you constructing the matrix?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's little things you can, I mean,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, no, I think that superficiality is truly connected to it because people that don't want to deal when we don't want, I'm not going to say people, I'm going to say us, me.
Yeah.
Us.
I do it too.
Right.
We all do
Because
it.
it is us. Yeah.
We will look to superficial things to ignore what
Yeah.
truly matters.
Because it's easy.
Right. So, and it's good to have those like fun times when you can just kind of escape for a while. We need that. We need that.
You need it. You have to.
Sleep.
However, we don't live there. Like when people say, I just want to go right now, I want to go back home. Like,
Right.
this is fucking home. So what I'm saying is looking deeper into things and everything, like the content that you consume, right? Just like us, question it all. I mean, don't just look at things from the superficial place. I think, and I'm telling myself this, that, you know, like the Kardashians, there's a perfect example,
Yeah.
right? Just showing people that have a little bit of money and they can just, I mean, actually they have a lot of money now, but really they've kind of parlayed that into like,
They've been
look at
able
my
to sell just
superficial life
themselves,
and look at my
right?
rich life. And
Superficial
that's
from the
entertaining.
hilt.
Like we're talking
Yeah.
about, we need to have a show about the the rich elites that want to kill us all.
Right.
That,
I mean,
right.
it would be
We're over
entertaining, but
here
that is still a
idolizing them.
superficial look at things. Like Mike was talking about earlier, and Norma, we need to know our enemy, and to know our enemy is
Okay,
to know
you're
ourselves. But to know our enemy, we need to look deeper than just what we don't fear.
Right.
That's my take
Right.
on it.
I want to say real quick, because I want to agree with Mike. One of the things in the art of war that is not really told, but it's a mystery, it's esoteric that you get when you read that. If you understand what he's saying in there, is to know yourself is to know your enemy. He says that, but the reason for that is to know yourself and understand yourself.
Yep.
And then the way you beat your enemy is to become your enemy. What would I do?
Yep.
If I were that person?
If
What
I
would
thought
I
this way,
do?
if I felt this
Knowing
way.
me, and knowing me like that person, if I assume that person knows me as well as I know me, then I can beat that person because that person I know as well as I know myself. That's the whole thing. To know yourself.
But
is
to beat
know
them,
your
what is the purpose? I mean, what is the end goal of to beating? You're going to beat your own enemy, that enemy that you see in the mirror.
Yeah.
Okay, that duality of you, the one that's doing all the shit that.
Yep.
We try and be the best version of ourselves, and so when we beat that enemy, what we're doing is we're just trying to shed light onto the darkness, and the darkness will wither away.
Yep.
So
Showing
that we can
people
ultimately
this does
be
exist. Yeah.
better light sources, sources for everybody else to grow, sources for everybody else to heal. With no judgment or anything else, just healing. All right, pick yourself up.
But we do need the dark to grow.
Yes.
We grow in the womb, we grow in the soil.
My roots.
100%
I need
necessary.
them
Has to be
nice
there.
and
Leanne was
tender.
supposed to talk. I think we all
it's
went over
Leanne's
Leanne.
turn. Yeah.
Leanne, come on.
Leanne, she
Where
says
you at?
no.
She's writing shit down now. She's ready.
Writing shit down.
Yeah, right. Now I'm taking notes so that I try not to interrupt you because, like, again, my brain.
I know. I
fires.
forget too. I should do that.
But like, as far as like, we really, what Miguel said about like the news.
Mike, Leanne, thanks, please.
Mike, I'm sorry.
No words.
I
That's all right.
do it too, and he's like,
No, it's my thing from mine. It's a childhood trauma of mine. That's all.
I
So
don't mean to perpetuate anybody's traumas.
no worries. Thank you very much. I appreciate the
I'm
respect.
so sorry.
No
I'm
worries.
seriously sorry if that upset you. In any way.
As I was
So
saying.
I feel funny now. Like if I upset,
No, don't worry. I'm not. I didn't. Okay. I was just. It's okay. We're all rolling here. We're reaching into the rhythm, so it's good. Don't worry.
Right. I'll get into
Keep going.
too. Okay, but like
Exactly.
as far as the Kardashians, like that example is great because we do things here. We do things like we glorify being rich, and we glorify being celebrity, and we glorify all of these things, and then we turn around and we hate the thing that we glorify. Like, we're taught to be passive aggressive, like this passive aggressive behavior. And I think that ultimately, because we're in a passive aggressive rhythm, that we then end up subconsciously being passive aggressive with ourselves, because that becomes a habit with self-talk and narrative. And then because we're caught up in that subconsciously, the next thing we know is we're getting signals. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. And then the next thing we know, instead of doing ourselves and programming ourselves, this beautiful kid, David Hero Adderley is his name. He said, and it's true, the Navajo, they say, you need to empty the cup. If the cup is full, there's no room. It'll overflow. You've got to empty the cup.
How do you empty it?
How do you empty it? What did you say?
I
cleared my throat. He asked you the service to others. That's how you empty the cup.
Yes,
is by being service to others.
Or emptying the cup of things that don't serve the highest good. Now, when I say the highest good, how can you be helping humanity if you're in the corner beating the shit out of yourself? How is that? Like, that doesn't make sense. So try to heal ourselves before we go out there and try to help other people. And or if our healing journey is something that we're making public somehow, and if it helps somebody see somebody else, they model the behavior, which I guess we get into, like, this is how 100 monkeys end up washing their potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are social creatures.
Like, what has she got? Well, she's happy all the time. What's she doing? Like, if you can get off the Instagram long enough to watch and be aware, like observe, and then go, well, if it can work for that, it can work for me. And then you have to dump the old thing, empty the cup of the old stuff that doesn't work.
Pour in you find it and you get rid of it.
Get rid of the moldy water. It's moldy. Get it out of there. It doesn't just buy.
It doesn't serve you anymore. It's not doing you any good. It's just rotting away with you. Yeah.
It's energy that's stagnant. Any energy that's stagnant will stagnate.
And then your body holds it.
Yes, your body will hold on to that and just react the same way every time.
Feng Shui in a house, for example, they're seeing the energy flows where you don't get the right wind or the right light. You'll have an accumulation of bad negative energy, which is dust particles, which is, molds and everything else that will grow in that sort of environment. And the same thing happens with our mind. We have to allow it to flow. We have to get those things out of there that are creating little cubby holes where mold and bad shit can grow. So we get that out there so that we can actually eventually help others. Now, there was a thing about being afraid of change. Ask yourself why, and this is Norma's favorite question. Why are you afraid of that change? Okay, what is it about that change that so terrifies you, so that you can face your fears? Because in the end, I've got acrophobia. I'm afraid of heights. I got that when I was 7 years old. But ever since then, I've gone cliff diving. Every time I go up a river, I'll find some cliffs and I'll dive off. Why? Because I don't want to be a subject of my own fear. So I try and face it, even though it scares the crap out of me every time I jump off those cliffs. But I saw somebody else doing it. They survived. All right. No, it's fucking terrifying as shit, but I don't like living in fear.
Right.
And so I face my fear and I go after it. And sometimes fear is necessary. So you go in with a certain trepidation and understanding. No, I didn't. I just going on with that comment so that, it was a sort of a jumping board off of something else that I wanted to be able to talk about. So thanks very much for the comment. It wasn't anything, but anyway.
Leanne's raising her hand. Let's hear from Leanne.
Go ahead, Leanne, please.
Well, change can be difficult. It's doing things different. Yeah.
But it's probably also hard, like, for our audience to listen to all of us start talking at the same time. So I want to be respectful of them and not sending them also chaotic, because we're trying to alleviate that. We're not trying to make more of it. So I'm trying really hard to change my behavior and do something different that I don't usually do, so that we can create a safe, coherent space here. Right.
That's what we've all done, because over 17 episodes, we've all had these, we've gotten out of rhythm and out of sync. And so we found that
we're still finding the rhythm of the show.
Right.
Exactly. And so it's still growing and everything else. So that's cool. We're with it. Go ahead, Leah.
Go ahead.
what I was going to say was, I feel like when I've been afraid or just uncomfortable or just really don't want to do something, like the result is in the doing of it. Because like you don't want to do the dishes, but you want a clean house. So the doing of the dishes, like ultimately is the result, right? But you're not like, I guess, and then there's also the journey is, right? So for me, true freedom for me is being able to be myself no matter what, and also play the game of pushing myself out of my comfort zone when I feel that fear trigger starting. It's like, oh, and it's kind of like what Mike said. It's like you're there, you're gonna go bzz, and I'm gonna go, oh, how am I gonna respond this time? Because I'm aware of the fact that you just showed up. So just trying to not even everything at the same time, but you can free yourself, your ego self that's always like, what should I do? You can free that thing, and it doesn't have to be an inmate, and it doesn't have to run the asylum. It can be the thing you use to play.
That balance. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you're free because you're using your ego to feed self, higher self, not using your ego to freak out because you're responding to something outside telling you something. What is inside telling you? Inside's telling you, I want to have fun. I want to feel alive. Yep. The way they make us feel alive is to feel afraid because it's a feeling. Like, but if you let go of that fear attachment, empty the cup, and then replace it with something else, what makes you feel really happy? What do you prefer to do?
That's right.
You know, is it scary to make yourself do something that makes you happy? Why?
Right. Yeah.
Because you were told, are you going to get in trouble with whom?
Right.
Who's like when you're little, you're not the boss of me. Well,
right.
You know what? Maybe you should listen to that little fucker.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We knew a little
That's my daddy. No, you're not.
Yeah. However, whenever a kid says "you're not the boss of me" to his parents, what generally happens? He learns a lesson. He learns to improve and not do the stupid shit that he does. Okay, that's the whole point of having somebody else that wait, even if it's in your mind, it's still a great psychological tool because it means that you can't get away with everything you want to fucking get away with. So quit fucking trying to do bullshit and get away with it. You know, being in love and in service to others, that there's no law against that. You can do that your entire life and you're good, man. There's absolutely none of the writings or scripture or anything else in all the studies that I've done says that loving someone else and being open-hearted and kind is a bad thing. Being generous is a bad thing. Well, except maybe Satanism. Who the fuck knows? But I haven't studied those, so I wouldn't fucking know.
That one yet.
I have.
A little bit.
I have. Good, Leanne, go ahead.
A little bit, maybe.
Well,
it's not
I just got like a very Monty Python. It's like, I'm sorry, Mike, you've been caught today helping people and serving others full time. I'm going to have to lock you into the little room again with the tiny bird. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Yeah, your penance shall be the tower with the bird in it.
Right. You'll be
the one that lives directly over your head, and
right.
It's going to poop on you daily.
I guess I'm gonna have to keep that voice in my head thing going, oh shit, I better not do that. I don't want the tower anymore. That works.
The bird's probably scarier than the tower, honestly. It's just freaky.
Depends on the bird. Ravens are pretty wicked animals.
Right. But you know what? That still is, all of that is still you have to see it as what it is, the rhythmic ideology of this construct that they have made, that they have set up with this caste system,
right?
And the superficial instant gratification, so that you can centralize everything and let them be in control of it. We'll let you have nothing, but you'll be happy.
Yep,
exactly.
That's right.
Because you can have whatever you want. We'll give it to you. You don't have to work for it.
But it's not yours, it's ours, and we can take it away anytime we want.
But we can take it away anytime.
They don't remind us of that all the time, right? We forget.
Yeah.
We like those little toys that they give us.
It's so convenient.
The toys are great. Yeah. the convenience, the toys. Oh, I get what I want right now. I just didn't realize that all that shit takes work. And when you rely on somebody else to do it easy for you,
Nothing
you
is
are in
free.
service to them.
Nothing is free. The
Small
first
step.
step in avoiding a trap
that's
is
it.
knowing of its existence. The only thing that's free in this world is knowledge and love. No cost.
Absolutely, because that's the way it should be.
Existence is
My
free.
breath is free.
Existence.
They'd have us
That's good
pay
too.
for it if, you know.
Well, it
we
depends.
could
If you live
try
in a
it.
big smoggy city, no, it's got an expense because it's doing damage to your lungs and shit.
She's like,
So it depends on where you're at. Even those basic things like go to Flint, Michigan, and find out if water is free. What kind of water is free? That's the whole thing.
yeah,
so-
Flint water's free.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
you
it
don't
takes-
want that.
Yep.
Go
It
ahead,
could
Sarah.
cost something for someone at some point. But if we were all kind of living more organically, and I don't want to say like, you know, all like cavemen or like the natives or whatever else. I want to say more
But at least
naturally.
cerebral
Then,
and
you know,
that way. Yes.
Conscious.
It would be
more conscious. I mean,
there
it's
would be
really that
plenty
simple.
of everything for everyone all the time. There is more than enough space. There's more than enough capacity to make food. There's plenty. I mean,
Yes.
the fact that we've destroyed the water so goddamn bad, but we can still correct
Mother
that.
Nature
And you know
can
what I mean? Like
correct pretty,
it's yeah.
pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
However, one little
Oh, yeah,
movement on our
there's
part
studies
can make a
after
difference.
humanity's gone for 125 years, the cities collapse and crumble because
Yeah,
none of
there'll
that
be nothing
concrete
left.
steel will hand up, and we'll be jungle again. I mean, so like
That's
when
what
they
I'm
say,
saying.
the
Like,
earth is
yeah,
in danger.
eventually, yeah,
Fuck no, the
you're
earth
right,
is safe.
dude. Mother
Mother
Earth
the earth
will
will be
take
fine.
over and
Yep.
We're fine.
you may not be around anymore.
Right.
Exactly. That's what Carl Sagan said. The world's not fucked. We are.
Go ahead, Leanne.
Yeah, Leanne, go ahead.
There are a couple of comments. The cat doesn't try to get the bird. No, that bird will ride that cat like a bucking bronco and make it
Yeah,
bleed.
I saw that. Right.
Go around. Then what else?
Usually the rooster beats up the kitty.
Exactly, Ariel. So I was gonna say, yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to say those two things.
Yeah.
I happened to see those.
I saw those too, Leanne. I just didn't put them up.
I'm not able to answer. Like if we were streaming on Writing the Frequency too, I would be able to. Or if I was a manager, I would be able to.
Yeah, I can
writing-
make you a manager.
Yeah.
Just give me your email address in the chat, and I'll make it so.
Okay, cool. Because I'd like to be able to answer these guys on the chat without interrupting you guys.
And Mike too. He can be part of the YouTube. I think I can make you on Facebook. I
No
don't know.
worries. I've actually got the YouTube open, and I can actually chat in there if I want to. But it's
There you go.
not a problem.
I can't make you on
Whatever.
StreamYard because I have
Oh.
to pay for the better.
No, I'm not asking for any of that. I'm happy that I'm on.
Yeah, Leanne, if you can't chat in here to them, you could go to Facebook and type it in there, and it'll go up in the chat.
Exactly. You can actually see the
Or
video on
YouTube, it'll go
Facebook
up in the
or
chat.
on YouTube. And
I have a lot of YouTube. I'm
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
picking up.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, you know.
I could just type in there,
What
but
Leonard
when
was
I
saying
do, you
before
can't
about
tell it's me. If I type in there, it just comes through as Skull Island, right? So if I type or Aaron types, it comes through as the same person. So you guys don't know the difference between whether it's Aaron or me talking.
streaming from. Yep.
it comes back full circle to where we were talking about until we interrupted you.
The
for
beauty
10
of it.
minutes.
No, that's the beauty of it.
There are many ways to be able to chat with you guys on this while I'm on here without having to flip screens on my iMac. So yeah, I'll just adapt to the way this.
Dude,
So-
Leanne's got a cool
Yeah.
system. I guarantee you, dude. Leanne's got a cool setup.
Julie,
Like it may be like it's minimal, but she's got power.
Yeah.
I can tell she's got good power. She's got good memory. She's got
She's got the mojo. She's got the
Julie's in
Rob.
that place.
Krumstein.
You know,
What?
where she feels like she's been of service and she's just past it because she just gets taken advantage of. And I understand that.
Well, because you need
But-
to balance that out. You
Yeah.
need to nurture your thyself as well. Like
Yeah.
as healers, I think people don't understand. Like if anybody fucking tells me that you are a healer and you have fully healed yourself, fuck you. You're
Right.
wrong because you're
Wrong.
a human.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you heal and you perform those healing powers, yes, you're helping heal yourself. And if you're a real healer and look deeper, you can learn something from the healing that you're performing
That's
on
right.
somebody.
And you should be able to be aware of the
That's right.
fact that
That's
you're going to
right.
be a work in
You are
progress for about the
broken
next
too.
couple
Just
million
remember that.
years.
We're all broken.
well,
That
you
shouldn't
know, yeah.
stop you from
Yeah.
moving into that healing
That's right.
space and being a healer.
It is
Because
a
that
constant
helps you heal
journey of
yourself.
balance.
But
Yeah.
we do
But
need
we're
that
all born
nurturing
here broken because
and
we have
service
things to
to
fix.
others. What's that?
We're all born here broken because we have something to fix. We have something to
Yep.
figure out. That's the reason why we're here.
It's
To
our
learn those lessons.
right into adulthood.
And so I guess it's more about like learning how what is it like, what is it makes you feel like you're being taken advantage of? Is it a certain thing every single time, or is it a certain amount of pressure that you're feeling about feeling like you have to do certain things? I mean,
Because
figure
if
out
you don't
you
do
got
it,
to
then you're
figure out
not a good person.
right.
Yeah,
You got to
don't-
figure
don't
out
get into
where that
Oh,
feeling of being taken advantage of actually comes from, and then correct that, right? Because yes, don't get me wrong, people will take advantage. They will.
They're still going to,
But
and you should still give
That's
some
gonna
to
happen.
others,
understanding when you start to feel like that and when you feel like you've gotten past your limits there, you need to understand what it is that actually makes you feel like that.
Leonard was coming up with
Sorry.
something. I don't want him to lose his thought.
Well, and then you need to look at the people that are taking advantage of you and say to yourself, can I cut these people out of my life? Should I cut these people out of my life? If it's your job and people are taking advantage of you, then you have to see if you can change the dynamic. You have to look at these things and be objective instead of subjective. If you're being subjective, then you're submitting and you're being a subject. That means you're a slave, a plebe. If you're being objective with yourself and reality, then you're going to look at reality completely different. You're going to objectively say this self-serving thing is not good for a soul who is in service to others. So why am I doing it? Do you understand? I don't want to be part of that. It's not my soul. It's not who I am. It's not who I chose to be. So you have to be objective with yourself.
But don't be afraid to take some for yourself either, though. Like, if you're somebody you don't want to be somebody who's just taking all the time. No, of course not. That's a terrible way to live. But yes, you don't be afraid to accept what you deserve, right? If you put that work out and you have done what you do, like whatever it is, you know, it could be going to be a teacher, a professor, or fucking neuroscientist, or whatever it is. I mean, you put in the work, you deserve the rewards that are coming there. However, yes, don't forget about where you came from, and then that was the root, that was the base, where you had nothing. And there's other people that could have a little lift up, and we've all had those in our lives. We've been given opportunities. Just be that person that you could actually, even if it takes a one term or one little word to turn somebody's life, just taking the time to talk to them for a second matters. That is giving your service to that. It's giving your energy to somebody else. And don't think about it as like, I've got to go be, some person that just gives up everything. Mother Teresa was sick all her life because that's all she did.
Yes.
There's a whole
we can go into a lot of things
anyway.
with Mother Teresa, but anyway, you know what I mean? From the narrative that was given to us, right? So it's a balance. It really is that polarity you need to keep in between there.
Yeah, you have to take care of yourself. Even if you're giving to other people, you have to know when to spend time on yourself and take care of yourself as well. And that goes back to the conversation that I had with the rabbi when the rabbi asked the question, why were you created? Right. And I was like, well, to grow and to be and to become and to be a spirit. No, that's the what, not the why. And I was like, well, what's the why? You were created to make this a home. All that other stuff that you're worried about with yourself, you got to do that. But you can't spend all time doing that because you get stuck just taking care of yourself. Yeah. But you also can't spend no time taking care of yourself.
Right.
Like Aaron said, you have to find that balance.
Leanne being able to know this really well right now because they are both. I mean, we know it to a certain extent, but really, I mean, you both know that the balance, like you have to have that balance, or you're going to go nutty. Like, look at Leanne's studio. She's got some cool shit that she can actually like go be her and just do her thing in between the time that she's giving that service.
You know what's really weird is that my mom just got kicked off hospice because she doesn't qualify because she's not declining quickly enough. Usually if they're on for like 6 months, they extended it to 18 months. I can adapt and figure out how to work through the system. The social worker, Stephen Barrow is his name. Lovely guy. Never met him. An email relationship this whole time. He came over here just to make sure that I knew that I could appeal. And he looked me right in the eye and I was like, could you please take your mask off? Same thing. I was like, could you stop that? Just take that shit off.
Yeah.
need a dire CO2 cone. Well, anyway,
See, there's something
here,
that people are. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
one of the things he said was clearly, you've been doing this with your mom by yourself for 3 years, and you have not availed yourself of aids for whatever reason. It doesn't matter, but you're okay. Like, and it's because what you just said. I have my space. Like, I grew up in this room. I 13 years old to whenever I left for LA, I lived in this room. Now it's my den, and
It has your energy.
I do my music, and then I feel like I'm running my mom's house. So there's a certain ideology in that, like, that makes me feel safe here
Right.
because I'm back home. Like, all of these illusions that I've put on this to make myself feel happy in the situation, a lot of people would not describe as anything but messed up. But
Right.
No, it's called the sacred space.
But that's where you find your peace, and that's one of the things that I wanted to get to in the other. There's no balance, people just to take advantage of. Yeah, because we're trying to be in service to others. But service in self, you find an area where you can recharge your batteries, where you can re-energize, where you can feel whole and complete again, so that you can continue to be in service to others without being a drain on yourself. There is a me time that you need to find to recharge and restructure and recenter.
I would say Julie needs a spa day, like, or whatever that is, spa day is for you.
Exactly.
You need to like let go of all of it for just a minute.
Yeah.
Just to
Well, or try and find and create a space
recharge.
like Leanne has, like I have here. You try to create that space you find it in, maybe it's in one room. Some people hide in a closet.
And sometimes
You
it's
find
just
that
inside
place
yourself.
where you can create that the entire outside illusion is no longer able to reach. That energy doesn't come here. It's my sanctuary where I can go and I can be creative and I can worry about myself and I can work on myself, or I can let all that go and not worry about that for a while because it's not going anywhere. It's going to be there tomorrow. So for today, for right now, I'm going to let go and do whatever. I'm going to watch TV and play a video game. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to write a song. I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do for me because I like it. It makes me feel good. You have to find that, even if it's for a half an hour or an hour out of a day, you have to do that so that you can reset yourself and then know that you have that safe place to go to where all this energy from the universe is not going to bombard you, so that you can then function to continue functioning, helping other people and being in service to other people. Right? Anybody want to comment on that? Show of hands. Raise your hand if anybody want to comment. All right, Leanne went up first. So let's go with Leanne.
I'm actually going to take my dogs out so y'all can finish this conversation. And if you're still going in about 15 minutes, then I'll be back and I'll come back. I love you all. If you guys finish up, which I know you three are not going to finish up in 15 minutes, so I'll be back.
Well, I'll be finishing up soon because I'm not going to stay on too much longer.
He's got to take care of his mom as well. So yeah, we've always got this more or less a 2 hour.
So let's do Leanne, then let's do Mike, and then we'll wrap it. Okay, how's that?
We can
Unless Norma's going to stay. If Norma's going to stay, we'll let Norma talk as well. If she's going to go out with Aaron,
Norma take
we'll
it
wrap. If not, we'll let the three of you have a conversation.
Wrap it, man.
Yes. Okay.
Wrap it for both of us.
Yes. Basically, you can find us anywhere online. He is Psychic Shaman.
Aaron Fowler. Just look up Aaron Fowler. Psychic Shaman comes after that.
Right.
It's just a title. It's a job. It's business.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
But what I'm trying to say, the easiest way to find
www.psychicshaman333.com. That's where you can find me. All the social networks, the bigger ones. Yeah.
And for me, you can find me at Mystic Norms. I also have a title, Awesome Weddings.
Anyway, I love y'all. Peace out. We'll see y'all next week. This was a great conversation. And
are you on D-Live today?
I truly do love every one of you, dude.
This is awesome.
I love having this like dichotomy about what's funny is we all like to play the devil's advocate. I think we play the devil's advocate too much with each other. Like we're all like because we have to be that like voice other voice.
It really rings out for
that's
the
what we
audience.
have in common.
I think it rings out everything for the audience when we do that, though. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's human.
And thank you all for watching.
We sort out issues that everybody has.
Christy,
sending out much energy for everyone. I gotta
Thank you.
We'll see you guys later.
Outside.
Peace
All
out,
right, brother.
Peace out.
Okay, Leanne, what did you want to say?
I don't know. I forgot.
No, I forgot. That's funny.
Let's
Right.
see,
Well, do you have a comment about what he had said? He just said maybe we played the devil's advocate too much. What do you think?
No, it was before that. It's what you said before that. I had a comment after you said something. What did you say before?
Let's see. What was I talking about before we did that?
Mike
I
remembers.
was talking about finding a space for yourself that you can be comfortable in, that's tranquil, that becomes your chapel or your sanctuary, so that then you can further, when you go back to the rest of the world, you can then still be in service to others, but to have that place where you can take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
And my
one of-
comment was sometimes being in service to others feels good and it just makes you feel good. It doesn't have to come in any particular form. I rehabbed a crow. Like I did this course once called, it doesn't matter what it was called, but the idea was that you tithe 10% of your whatever. Like, and if you don't have money, you can tithe your talent, you can tithe your time, but as long as you're in giving modality somewhere. Now, if they're talking about tithing 10% of your gross finances or of your net, whatever it is, then if you're going to put that into a different compartment or on a different freeway lane, instead of financial tithing, you're tithing time. How about 10% of your time? And that's
Right.
like making a limit. Okay, I have 24. And then also, like if you're running at 110% energy, you probably have about 5% to give away. If you're
Right.
under 100, you're not serving anybody.
Right.
You're hurting everybody. Like, stop. You not, and I sound really bossy right now, but I've found for myself, and nobody has to subscribe to the Leanne method, that within the context of finding myself in this situation, like I had to do something. So when I wake up in the morning, I thought, okay, maybe I can set the tone, like set a tone. And I started with like a little 10-minute guided meditation on YouTube that I found just randomly. Then my friend was like, you should listen to Joe Dispenza. So now every morning I do his morning guided meditation. No
Joe
matter
Dispenza's
what, I
good.
get up first thing before anything, just right in my ears, soon as right in my ears. Then sometimes she's maman, soulier. And as soon as she starts talking about shoes, I know she's fine. She's just whatever. So I make my coffee. I do my light language. I've set a rhythm for myself. Then I know that the next part of the day is going to be all over the place. And I give myself to like 11:45 to get her whatever. So I could take a yoga class at 12, because by the time 12 o'clock comes, I'm ready to I don't know.
Absolutely.
So, right?
Right.
Like
You schedule time for yourself in the middle of that. You're in service to others, but you also make sure that you're taking care of your own energy.
Within the same thing. So it's really like
Yes.
this. It's not this or this. It's this.
Agreed. It has to be part of the rhythm, part of the algorithm that is you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And everybody has 24 hours in a day. It's what you do with those minutes that makes the difference. So because everybody's got the same time. It's not like money that somebody can have more than somebody else. No.
Nope.
Time is the same for everybody.
Something that helps me also is choosing an intention in the morning too. If you can remind yourself to choose an intention for the day, it could be the color blue. I'm going to notice the color blue because it makes me happy.
Right.
So every time I see blue today, I'm going to feel happy. And right away, you're starting some practice that seems like a silly little game, like a little kid would play. Now, isn't it fun to be a little kid? Really? It's not. Come on, liar. It is.
Yeah, it is.
Play it. Make it a game. It doesn't all have to be this heavy like this.
But it does.
Watch the movie Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, and then you'll understand what Leanne's saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it is.
You'll get it.
One of the things that I wanted to touch on is that you need to wake up with intent. And that's what successful people, they've actually proven. There were psychological tests where they asked people, how many of you write down, a to-do list or write down, have future planning, 5-year goals, that sort of thing. And only about 5 or 10% of the people actually did that. And then they followed them throughout high school, throughout college, and then professionally. And they found out that same 5 or 10% of people that had a plan and had their to-do list actually were more successful and better off than the other people who were just I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow morning. I'll wake up and figure out what I do. No, people
No, make a
they
plan.
know before they go to sleep what they're going to do the next day. That's what they do before they go to sleep, so that they think about it subconsciously. You wake up, your body already wakes up going, hey, yeah, I got to mow the lawn, then I got to write, and then I got to do this, and you're already revving into that because subconsciously you've been working on it all night and you're ready to go. You know what your first steps are going to be.
Right. It's proven that if people create a future board, right? Where do I want to be in 2 years? Where do I want to be in 5 years? And you create this board and you put all the stuff on there. What do I want to do? What do I want to become? And how do I get from here to there? And you put that and you draw it out for yourself. I have to first do this, which means I have to get the education that I need. So how do I get that education? I need to look that up. Can I do it online or do I have to go to school? If I can do it online, how much is that going to cost? And how often do I have to do it? Now you have to adjust your life around that to make time for that. If you're willing to do that and put in the time and remind yourself that you set
Hold yourself
goals,
It's your personal
Yeah.
goal. Your
It's your
motivation
goal.
isn't external. Your motivation then becomes internal. You're motivating yourself to do that because it's something you want and need and recognize that's your goal. It's who you will be. And so who we are in the future is actually who we are now because all time is at the same time.
right?
We're just pacing out where we are going to be down there, knowing that
Right.
the resonance that
So
we
you have
have
to
right now is
become
going to
that
define where
now.
we're there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right, Leanne, go ahead.
But see, people actually have these plans, and they plan on fear, and so people actually have. There's a dichotomy, the energy between hope and fear. If you plan around fear, you're always you need to plan around hope because there's something that you want to strive to. It's a different resonance. Hope and love and empathy and compassion and understanding, that sort of thing, versus fear, anger, hate, destruction, and all the shit that goes on the other side. Sorry, Leo, go ahead.
No, Leanne, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if you're not focusing on like, I'm going to be good so that I can get, it's not about like the result. It's about the feeling in the moment. Like, and if
I
you
will
can,
be.
right. And if moment to moment, if I can add more moments in my day where I'm consciously doing something that makes me happy, like, oh, look, there's the color blue, right? Butterflies, whatever the intention is, whatever it is, and you don't have to, if you want the result of feeling better, then do what Mike said. I mean, Mike said you have to this and you have to, like, you don't have to do anything like that, but then don't expect to feel any better.
Exactly.
You don't do it. Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
don't.
But you have to realize, like Mike was saying, you have to realize that I am. Not I want to be, not I want to do. I am going to be. I am this. I am going to do this. Not I'm going in the future. I am now doing this. This is what I'm doing. I'm becoming what I want to be.
What Norma said before, she was like, you've got lots of titles, and they were talking about titles, and the notion that crossed my mind is like, the only title that I have is I am.
Yeah.
That is our only title. I am.
That's the only one that's important. I am. Yeah.
Careful what you follow those words with. Words are spells. They are the continuation of the electromagnetic thought. You brought it into sound now. Like,
yep.
It's a different energy level. You have an energy level in the brain, and then you have the verbalization of it, and that can induce somebody else into action. So there are 3 different energy levels that we work with, and it all starts with the spirals in the brain. If you're spiraling and building up that energy ball, like Leo was teaching us before, okay, if we're building up that energy ball, it's going to expand and it's going to grow, and we're going to launch it off into the universe. Now, if you're building up a negative energy ball, if you're building up a fear ball, if you're building up, a ball of problems and just irreversible conundrums, then you're also going to be building that energy up. It will end up being verbalized and it will eventually take action because you're building onto it. If you feel that ball, no, that's a negative energy ball. Throw it off right in the beginning and build something that would, if it's negative energy, build something that's the opposite, that positive energy, and build that up, because that's what you want to be able to launch into the universe verbally and through your actions. So we control our thoughts. Leanne, go ahead. Sorry.
well, no, I just made a really rude comment because then your balls will never drop. If you don't handle them, they'll never drop. And then
I have nothing to say about that. So, what happened there?
But it's true. Sorry, I'm
embarrassed.
typing at somebody.
That was
But I
me.
mean, that's true. You have to understand the rhythm. You have to find your rhythm, right? Stella got her groove back. Why? Because she found her rhythm, right? So you have to
Sure.
find your rhythm, what works for you. And you'll know it when you find it. People say, how do I know? Right? I
You'll
was
know.
working
Resonates
with
with
someone yesterday, and today she said, oh my God, what did you do to me yesterday? Because I have all this energy today, and my hands were glowing, and my fingers were, and people were coming up to me and saying, oh my God, your energy is like a cloud. And I'm like, well, yes, but I don't tell people tomorrow you're going to feel all this energy, because then there's an expectation. I don't tell you anything, and then tomorrow you go, what is this? And I go, you're welcome. And then she said, I said, you're going to become more into your own because of the activation that you're going through. And she goes, how will I know? And I said, you will know. You will know. You don't need a sign from God. You will know. Go ahead, Leanne.
You feel it. You resonate with it.
You'll know it.
There was a speaker at Omar's place. His name is Tom Palladino, Paladino. And he will work with a photo of you, right? Like that's bad. There. He'll work on a photo. You send him a photo because your electromagnet, your stamp, your I am, your yes is your stamp. Like it doesn't matter. So
that's what the natives didn't like photos on their soul.
Because you're taking their soul.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but so if you're going to take somebody's soul and put it in a picture, then I would not be adverse to somebody having that picture and using scalar light healing. Like this guy does that. And he said he's had amazing results. And and it's not one of these things where put your credit.
I have a whole group of people that we do just that. I teach people. We have 3 different groups where we teach people those skills, and we do that for people. Take a picture.
Want that duck palm, man. I need that duck palm.
Right? Somebody gives us a picture, and we look at that picture, and we give a reading on that person from that picture, or healing with that person with that picture. We do that all the time. Some people give us a picture, and we go, do you know that that person is deceased? And they're like, yes, but they didn't tell us that because they wanted to see if we were legit. Okay, so as long as you know that person is deceased, let's talk about that person and where they are now. Most people just want to know their family's okay, but a lot of people do other things where they're like, they want a reading about themselves or whatever. We say, I need a picture of you, please. That's what we tell people. We teach people.
Because your imprint is on there. Yeah. But this guy, he's got like this whole thing. He's got it. I think he's got a goal of trying to help like 1 million people or whatever, and I don't think it's necessarily coming from an ego place of look at I can. It's what you didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like that.
Ego involved.
That never resonates.
If you're keeping count, there's ego involved. If you're worried about how many people, because you want to show people I've helped this many people, that's ego. I don't care how you look at it. There's ego involved. Even what you're doing for a good reason. Okay. I have been helping people in those groups for more than 7 years. I could, to this day, never tell you how many people that I've helped in my life. I could say
you don't even know, because you might have helped people that you didn't even know you helped.
You know what? I should retract that, because I don't even know if it was that guy. There were so many speakers in 11 days, so let's retract that.
No, but Palladino's a good guy. I've seen Palladino before.
So. Okay, all right, good. So maybe he wasn't the million guy. Maybe it was somebody else. Well,
it might have been a metaphor. He might have been saying, I want to help 1 million people, because I would love to know that at some point, you helped 1 million people, but I don't keep count. That's just like when I start telling stories about how many times I should have died. People go, how many times have you should have? I don't know. I stopped counting. And then the same thing with people when they say, I saved that guy's life. And then there was another time where I saved this lady's life. And they're like, how many people's lives have you saved? I'm like, I never count. I never felt like I needed to know and have a tally of how many things happened that could have killed me and how many things that happened that I saved people's lives.
Well, that's like kind of figure out how many times you breathe. Like,
how many times have you breathed since you were born?
I don't know. Since you were born, I don't know. I haven't kept count.
2 billion? Who cares? It's not important.
Part of your essence. It's who you are. It's the great I am.
But you also have to understand, not you guys or anybody out there personally, just generally, that we all
be understood.
Yes, but the ego, even if you're the least egotistical person, you still have one.
Yeah, you have one.
You still have one.
Until you have an idea in that vibratory pattern of above the ego and above the thinking mind, and stay there constantly.
Right.
That's the only time you can claim you don't have an ego, because and you wouldn't claim you don't have an ego because you would have no reason to, because there's no ego that says I have to do that.
Right. That's true too.
Yeah.
trying to figure out what's going on below the lemon is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, because back to
they're
going
all different versions of the same. So we heal
Absolutely.
one, we heal them all.
Absolutely. That's why when
It's
talking
alive.
to the rabbi, that was the point of the rabbi is you were created to prepare this place as a home and make heaven on earth. So your job is not to focus just on yourself because you get stuck there. You can't help the all by helping yourself. But if you help yourself and the all at the same time, you can then help yourself more because you're helping the all better by helping yourself. And then the all is able to help you as you're helping the all. So everybody benefits and it happens faster.
I think that
Absolutely.
was a
That's the way it works.
demonstration of the good kind of symbiosis.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, agreed. And being in service to others, that's the personification of what that means. And that was what his purpose was, to tell me that. And that our creation wasn't that. That's part of it, but that's only a little part of it. Our creation was to make heaven here, now.
Mhm.
Because it is. We're just supposed to realize it.
We're co-creators, and so we're supposed to. That's our job, actually, is to make
Yeah.
this place a better
We were
place.
created for.
You know,
To make
for
us
not just
and
for
this
us,
place
but for everybody around us. That's one of the objectives.
Yep.
Why
Well,
not?
if you're feeling good, if you feel happy, if you remind yourself that blue is right there or whatever it is, like you'll
Right.
just automatically be happier. And the more often you remind yourself of something that makes you feel happy during the day, even if something shitty is going on, it doesn't change the fact that there's something shitty, but you can hold yourself in a
You don't
place.
have to let the smell
Get
get to you.
entangled with it. Entangle
Yeah.
with your blue. Don't entangle with the shitty.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't have to let the shit touch you. It's there, you smell it, you know it's there. Maybe it's a shit sandwich we all have to chew on, but the truth is you don't need to let it affect you. You have a choice to not have a bad day. People who have set out to have a bad day have a bad day.
That will,
People
yeah.
who set out to not have a bad day don't have a bad day no matter what
But
happens to
also
them.
the memories that you have when you're, and this is one of the things that I always, think about your life when you're 65, 70, the majority of your life is behind you and you're remembering all the things that you did. Are you going to remember a good life or a bad life? That depends on how you remember each day that you lived. If you go to
Right.
sleep every night stressed out and thinking life was bad, but maybe it'll get better eventually, that's the memory of that day that your subconscious is going to have. And the memories that you have of your life once it's been lived are going to be those bad memories. And other people have
And
to
it's
come
going
in
to
and tell you,
construct
but
the
wait,
rest of your life to be
this-
the same.
exactly. And
Yeah.
you end up feeding that loop and other people, and you influence others to do the same. And so we need to make sure that you always focus on something positive, something that you learned on that day. That's why they
Empty
say,
that cup,
"Life
like
is-"
Leanne said, empty that cup so that you can expand the cup, and then it's
Exactly.
infinite, so it never becomes full. But right now it's full because you have a small cup, because that's what we were created with, a small cup, and we have to empty that so that we can fit other stuff into it. And as we fit other stuff into it, what happens is the cup grows, and then it becomes infinite. And the proof of that was in the parody in the Bible, the Christian Bible, of the loaves and fish.
Yeah.
That was the parody of the loaves and fish. Empty the vessel, and then the vessel becomes infinite. And they had the loaves and the fish in there, and Jesus said, hand it out to everyone. And they said, we don't have enough. And he said, hand it out to everyone. We have plenty. And they kept handing it out. And there was plenty of food to hand out. Why? Because the vessel was not the size they thought when they picked it up.
Mhm. Absolutely.
It was expanded by Jesus. It was expanded by his consciousness. It was expanded by the faith of everyone there. And there was plenty of food to feed everybody in a vessel this big. And it fed hundreds of people in the crowd. Why? Because it was bigger on the inside than the outside. The perception was that it was small. The reality was that it was large. That was the parody. That was what they were trying to tell you with the loaves and fish in that parody.
Empty it by giving to others, and find your center of peace so that you can fortify yourself and continue to give. Because you can't give if you're unstable, because you're only going to need that energy to stabilize yourself. But once you get stable, there's a reason for that. You continue to help others, be in service to others. That's the whole point.
Unless you're just evil, and then you're going to be in service to self, and it's okay.
There are people that do.
Because you serve a purpose, and eventually you'll have to turn around and go back the other way. Unfortunately, you guys don't like to hear that when we say it. It's like saying, I greet you with the love and the light of the infinite creator. Evil hates that.
Yeah, but that's a resonance, and there's always going to be opposite resonances, and you just turn your back and walk
Just
away.
in this place. Once you rise above that, guys, and you realize that everything's okay, you look back on the whole feng shui and the yin yang, and you
Exactly.
realize that it's beautiful because it was this dance that is perfect, and it has to be. And the reason it has to be is so that we can become.
Absolutely.
That's it. It has to be that way. So fighting against evil is not what you're doing. What you're doing is you're fighting against yourself. You need to understand that.
You're improving yourself. You're making a better version of
Improve
yourself so you can
yourself.
put the positive
Right.
energy out there,
Stop
and you
fighting
include karma everywhere.
right.
Because as you put out
Stop
energy,
fighting.
you're going to make somebody else's day bright. They're going to pass on that energy. You know, it's that, you know, pay it back thing.
Yep.
Right. So
Stop
I love
fighting
because
and
I
do.
once was loved.
Do what you want. That's what they say. Do unto others as if you would have them do unto you. This is the Christian Bible, but it's the truth. If you're nice to people, people will be nice to you, except for people that are evil, and you cut them out of your life. That guy's evil to me every time he's around me. Get out of here. I don't want to talk to him anymore.
Absolutely.
Cut him out. And then guess what? People around you are people like you. So if you're good and you're kind, you're going to find people that are good and kind. And all those other people are going to be around you because they're your relatives or your father, your mother, whatever. You're married to one, whatever it is, you have to see it that it's cut and dry. It's you're in service to others or you're in service to self. That's it. The people that are lost in between, they just haven't made a decision. You can still see which way they're leaning. They don't want to admit it to themselves, right? But you can see which way they're
But
leaning.
the choices will be made. Everyone there. We're going through the filter. That choice will have to be made. There's no sense sitting when the filter comes, and the filter is coming.
Yep.
Um,
And Leanne,
also, we're at 2 hours, so I'm thinking, you know,
when we get laggy, she gets kind of laggy, and then she has to reset. So
okay,
that's okay because you're right. We're at the 2 hour mark, so we should probably go ahead and call it. So Leanne, tell them where they can find you if they want to contact you or listen to your content.
Well, if you like light language, you can go to Riding the Frequency channel on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. You can find me there. I've got an Insta. You can follow me there. And I've got a SoundCloud. If you want to listen to some music I made, you can follow me there. It's Vulcan-A-Music. What else? There's, back in my other iteration, you can find me in some movies and on Netflix and on other places too, if you want to see what I used to do a lot. But I'm just happy here now doing what I'm doing now. But like, if you're curious, there are ways of seeing things.
Right.
Perfect.
All right,
Welcome
Mike.
to the boat. I'm Benya Perspective on YouTube, Benya Perspective on Rumble. That's where most of my content is at. I've got a show here on Skull Island on Wednesdays, and I've got a show on Tuesday on my channel on these kinds of, I always try and stay on these kinds of topics. I don't like to mellow into really little stuff, but it's all good. Thanks, Leo. It's been a good night.
Right. And I'm Leonard O'Neill. You guys can find me on Facebook. I have a channel there on Facebook, a page on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. I have a channel there, a new one that I'm now archiving because they kicked me off the platform a few weeks ago when I got out of the hospital. It was deplatformed off of Google. Oh no, they deplatformed me. Wait a minute.
What are you gonna do?
All of my content that I have downloaded on my computer is deleted from your platform. Oh no. Right. You can also find me anywhere you listen to an MP3 file, right? Anywhere you listen to MP3 file podcast on any app that's out there. If you have an app or a special place you like to listen, and I'm not there, go to podbean.com/Orion Rising. And the RSS numbers there, you can take it and put it there. But I'm listening to in 60 countries. I have more hits there than I do for these MP4 file shows. But then again, I record this and I put this on that platform afterwards. So you guys can take a look there. You can also look at my books. You can look them up on Amazon. You can look them up online. You can get them on Kindle. I always tell people to do that because it's cheaper than buying the hard copy. Hard copy is always expensive, and all the producers and the people that promoted it, the people who published it, and then Amazon, they all take a fucking cut. So if you do it on Kindle, they get like 50 cents, and I get the rest of it. So I'm not worried about getting rich. I just want you guys to have the content. So my books are on Kindle. If you want to take a look at it, it's a lot cheaper. It's $5 or less. You guys can read read my books for that instead of paying $25 for a hard copy. But if you want to buy a hard copy, go right ahead. I'll take the check. Okay.
Awesome.
Right. Otherwise, you can listen to me here on Skull Island on Wednesdays. You know that because you're here now. Some of you know that on Fridays I do Orion Rising. I'm on year 5, almost year 6 now on Orion Rising. The archives, unfortunately, are no longer on YouTube. You can go to Facebook, do the Orion Rising page, and the archives are all there for every show that I've done because they haven't kicked me off their platform yet. All right, guys, this is Skull Island, our pirate cast. We are here every Wednesday, and we come on here and we talk about stuff, as you know, that is crazy sometimes, argumentative sometimes. We piss off everybody because we have no denomination of religion. We have no denomination of country. We have no denomination of politics. We do not buy into that religion. Our religion is spirituality, personal spirituality, so we don't even buy into the religions or the cults. We are about personal spirituality from all the scriptures because that's all the scriptures have been telling you for throughout time and space, and we're preaching that to you and trying to give you the information that is going to help you in the future to change your mind and free your soul. Have a great night. Thank you for tuning in.